Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into our Bills chat draft coverage. I was posting the link in a group and did not realize we were going live, but hey, here we are. Hi, Luka. You excited about draft night tonight?
Yeah, I thought so. Right off the bat, was it Show Up in the Bulldog? I saw a clip. They're like percentage between draft and game coverage. What are you going to be about? And I heard both of them basically went ballpark anywhere between 88 to 96% on game 3. I was like, only because we have this show, I will be at about, let's call it a loose 65-35. But I'm very excited. Just it's our favorite show of the year. That's first and foremost. Like, I love just being live, instant reaction, having the draft on our feed right here for everyone to enjoy at the same time. So that this is going to be great, and everything like that. But having game 3 playoff Sabres 1-1 series, stress could not be higher right now, Josh. I'll be quite honest.
So for those watching right now, the screen you're seeing that looks black, when the draft starts, you will actually, okay, there you go. You will see the TV. We will not get copyright kicked off of YouTube or anything like that. We've got workarounds. Luka's done the legwork. Look at us. Luka's done the legwork. We're good to go. Luka did mention the Sabres game is on. I can say confidently this is the first time in the history of Bill's Chat draft live shows that a Sabres game has been going on at the same time. Luka said 65-35. I'm about 80-20. I'll be 80% draft, 20% Sabres. I got a soft spot for them, but I'm not the diehard fan Luka is. But I be watching it on my TV up there. And then these guys tip off in about an hour and a half for their game 3 against Minnesota. So that'll be on this TV over here. But all eyes on the draft. And Luka, we did our mock draft on Monday morning. It was released. And has anything that we thought about the Bills or their needs or their priorities, has anything changed in your mind from what you even thought 3 or 4 days ago?
No, I'm going to be honest. No, I think there's been a lot of movement, and we've heard a lot of things even since we recorded our mock draft. I mean, for instance, we still had when we recorded, Bengals were still in possession of pick 10. That is now, of course, in possession of the Giants after that sexy Dexy trade. The early parts seems to be having a lot cooking for it, a lot of unknowns, things like that. You could have the Cardinals, the Browns trading out. You could have the Cowboys trading up with George Pickens being a moved piece now. There's a lot of smoke to that. So a lot of activities going on up front. But when you really think about it, when was the last time anyone heard anything remotely from like any of the playoff teams picking in the first round and or just any of the later picks in general? Because, of course, there's still like the Chiefs, the Dolphins, who possess the later round picks as well tonight, that you're not really hearing much chatter outside of who wants to potentially move up into the first round to inevitably get Ty Simpson. That is really what it's come down to. But other than that, no, as a Bills lens, Bills focus, I think from our episode till now, it's been pretty much status quo, and I haven't changed thought one so bit.
Interesting that Pro Football Talk put out a story today that Brian Thomas Jr. could again be on the trade market, as the Jaguars, who did trade their pick this year along with their pick last year to move up and get Travis Hunter, could be looking to get back in the back end of the first round. And that would be interesting to say the least. I would certainly be interested in Brian Thomas Jr. coming to the Bills, both as a perfect fit for what they need and a proven playmaker. And then, holy cow, you get Brian Thomas Jr. and more, DJ Moore with the Bills. I mean, problem solved at wide receiver. You mentioned Ty Simpson. I think the Bills will be square in the middle of that if a team like Arizona or Cleveland tries to move up. I did see there's been so much this week, but it sounds like he won't. I'm trying to think what team it was that they said he won't make it past. Was it Pittsburgh maybe? But you hear that stuff this time of year, who knows what to believe. One thing I've probably changed on in recent days is my taking the idea of the Bills taking a defensive tackle with the first pick more seriously. And you and I did kind of poo-poo that when it first came out, because we're like, if you just want a space clogger, you can get that done in the 3rd or 4th round. But ultimately, when you look at what the Bills have a need wise, they did take Walker and Sanders last year. They have Carter on their roster from 2 years ago. Ed Oliver's coming off of an injury. They project Landon Jackson is going to play that 5 technique defensive line. So they should be in good shape there. But what this team is missing is a true nose tackle. And the thought is that Deion Walker could be a fish out of water at nose tackle. And despite his size, is not best used as a space eater in a 3-4 front. So at first I was like, okay, whatever. If you need that, fine, get it. And also, you could go out tomorrow and sign DJ Reader. And you're going to hear me say this when it comes to people saying, oh, the Bills should take a linebacker with the first pick. Or you could just go sign Shaq Thompson or Bobby Okereke on Sunday and take care of that need. Those positions are available for a reason. They're not premium positions. But the more I've thought about it, I could see a scenario specifically with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, Luka, where the Bills do prioritize him, not only to fill that nose tackle role, but I went back and listened to Chris Sims break down the defensive line. I know Chris Sims can be kind of a meme for some. I take what he says very seriously. I love the way he looks at film. He does not think McDonald is just a run plugger that has no upside as a pass rusher. He thinks that McDonald has the ability to impact the game on all 3 downs, has rare athleticism. He said he's not going to compare him to Jalen Carter, but says in any draft class, he's a top 15 talent. And so for me, I think if Brandon Beane views him through that lens, which is the lens you have to view him through, being able to impact the run and the pass if you're going to use a premium asset on him, if they do believe that and they can plug him in at the nose and then kick Deion Walker outside and TJ Sanders outside and allow them to play to their strengths, I could see that being a way the Bills go. I'm not on board with what Peter Schrager had the Bills doing, which was taking Peter Woods out of Clemson. I don't think any of the other defensive tackles really do it for me. I know there's some Christian Miller fans out there, but that's where I have probably softened my stance. I could see a world where defensive tackle gets into play tonight.
I can. I think when we saw, was it Schrager? I know for sure, but even Daniel Jeremiah, I want to say potentially. Although I think Jeremiah also had us trading out in his very last mock as the Ty Simpson. But there has been enough IDL talk with respectable individuals that do take their mock drafts a little bit more serious, where they're not just trying to say what they would do and or just kind of throw smoke out there, whatever, however you want to say it. They're actually trying to piece the puzzle together as best as they can. And all the IDL talk has been there for the Bills enough where I think my surprise will not be there if that happens. I will still stand very firmly on the stance of I have no interest in that personally, though. I think at 26, that I think there's just too many other great things you could do with that pick that I would value much higher than a true nose tackle, and even if they are just a premier guy, like I don't know. I think it's just, there's the historic value or lack thereof of a true nose tackle to me that just, can you truly justify, even the best true nose tackles in recent NFL history? I'm not going to go way back because I think I'll respectfully, fatties were I think a lot more, there were a lot more dominant ones earlier on, or, in distant past.
Everybody likes a dominant fatty.
Yeah. But now I think they're not a dime a dozen anymore and such. So that's where it's like, I guess that's where you're almost trying to convince yourself, oh, there's this one guy in this draft, maybe he's a first round grade. I just don't see it overall. I will also just add this little caveat. I just saw it while I'm scrolling on my Sabres chat Twitter, and I don't know how I didn't catch this from an hour ago. Terry and Kim Pagula are in Boston for game 3. They are not at One Bills Drive tonight. And that is just noteworthy for the sense of, since the Pagulas have owned the Bills, they've always been there for draft night, mainly because the Sabres haven't been in the playoffs that whole time. But it feels like that could be a little bit of a caveat where Beane might have a little bit more control of the room without having his boss overseeing things, right? Like Beane is, for the first time as a Bills GM, has no direct oversight in that room, that I'm sure whether they have a good relationship or not doesn't matter. If your boss is sitting there who writes your checks, you're puckered a little more tight. You're trying to dot your I's, cross your T's a little bit more finely. Whereas now, maybe Bean goes a little bit more from the hip. Maybe we have a surprise here. Who knows? I do think that's a little bit noteworthy, though, considering all this.
I just got an ESPN alert, and then I realized it's just letting me know that the draft is starting coverage-wise on ESPN.
There it is.
Yeah, this is unquestionably now the Brandon Bean show. There is no question of is he the guy or is McDermott the guy? That is out the window. It is Brandon Bean and then everybody underneath him, including Joe Brady. And I think, one, it's the right move for the Pagulas to be in Boston. You need to be where your playoff game is happening, not where the draft is happening. You can certainly like phone in your opinion. I'm sure Pagula has enough resources around him to keep tabs on the draft and all that stuff. But interesting times in Boston sports, by the way. The Celtics and the Bruins are in the playoffs, and the Patriots might be the most interesting team in town for reasons that they probably are not very proud of. But I did not hear what Mike Vrabel had to say.
Yeah.
Did you see any comments coming out from the press conference?
Haven't really been paying attention to much outside of one thing right now since 7:00. So I do apologize.
So speaking of that one thing, this is not going to be a like Bill's Chat podcast where we just talk nonstop. We're going to react. We're going to have conversation. Stokes is going to join us in about an hour or so. But we're going to be taking bathroom breaks. We're going to be, during downtimes, we'll talk about the Sabres. We're just two friends hanging out, watching the draft. We're certainly going to watch it through a Bills lens. Obviously, the more quarterbacks that go early, the better. But with that in mind, I'm going to step away briefly because I'm going to take my first bathroom break, and I'm going to find my remote to get this TV turned on the Sabres game. So, Luka, I'll be back in about, 2 minutes.
Sounds good. And we do have one other caveat of tonight is I'm going to be testing this out in live time. I did do a quick test before. But we got audio tonight and stuff like that. It's something that we have not had in the past. So I'm just...
Come on, you do better than that. We have over 300,000 people. Let's go. Let's hear you. There you go. Welcome to the 2026 NFL Draft. We are proud to be here in a city built on grit, built on steel, and home of one of the most dominant franchises in history.
There you go.
Your six-time Super Bowl champion, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Costa, it's always through and through local feed, baby. So even I can be ahead, or we can be ahead
tonight we're going to
of anyone using streaming services. Do apologize, but it ensures we don't have any spoilers.
I didn't come alone. Steelers captain, 8-time Pro Bowler, and Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt.
All right, I'm going to turn this down. We don't need to hear him just pumping up the Steelers. Yeah, this will be an interesting night overall, though, I will say. I was listening to WGR early, and of course, most of WGR was centrally focused on the Sabres game 3, just because it's a little bit more heightened. But anyone that's talking about the Bills, what I found fascinating is going into this, there still is this true division within thought process on the wide receiver drum, and having a conversation with some friends as individuals who would beat the drum, Josh and I, year after year about taking a first round caliber receiver. I find it funny the amount of individuals out there that are just praying, it feels like, for KC Conception to be the Bills pick at 26. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't say it would be the most underwhelming option they've had of recent when we've been beating that wide receiver drum. But I will say that I would be, out of all the years that we've been requesting it, this would be the pick that I think I'm least sold on of all the years we've been asking for this premier blue chip receiver. This is still the year, if you leave this draft with KC Conception, where I'm not going to be upset with it overall. I just think there's probably, and I would think unless the board is crazy, there's better options than just taking him at 26 and standing pat. But then even in years past, there was better opportunity for more true first round wide receiver talent that would have been at play based on your resources available, as well as just, how the board was going to fall for you. And then, I do find the discourse or the true division of fan base and media and everything on Casey Conception, and this being a year to go again and beat that drum for receiver. Casey Conception might be the least inspiring option of the last few years now, where it's like, okay, this is going to be the year you truly go for it. I find that very fascinating. But yeah, so Josh, I had the volume on for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, just catering to Steelers naturally and stuff like that. And I was like, I can't listen to this. But, massive boos early on. Then, of course, dominant steel curtain defense talk, and it gets the crowd going and stuff. But,
So I heard you talking about Casey Conception. Another thing that I've kind of gotten the vibe of is maybe the Bills aren't as high on wide receiver as we'd like them to be, but I get the vibe they're high on him. Just enough people covering the team seem to make it sound that way, where maybe they aren't targeting wide receiver per se early in this draft. But if he were to be available, or even like within striking distance of trading up, I do get the feeling there's a love affair there. I didn't love him initially, and I still don't think he's my favorite idea, but I would get it. He does fit the mold of the receivers they've tried to bring in since Joe Brady became the offensive coordinator. When you look at, what they were trying to do with Curtis Samuel and the Casey Conception ability to have the run after catch, but he is a very smooth route runner. Reception perception that always breaks down receivers. They love Casey perception. That's Matthew Harmon. And I always love what he says about players. I don't know that I think that he's like a super special athlete, but I would get it. And again, like, is it my favorite idea? No. There's no Luther Burden to me in this class where I would Jordan Tyson, but there's no Luther Burden in this class where I'm going to like jump through a window out of excitement. But I will be excited that they traded for DJ Moore. Wasn't my favorite idea. And then they draft Casey Conception. Not my favorite idea, but they still did the thing. Like, they lost a playoff game where Brandon Cooks, who was signed off of the street, drops a ball. And they're throwing balls to Keon Coleman, who was a healthy scratch throughout the year, and Curtis Samuel, who was brought back off of IR for a divisional playoff game, and they lost that game in overtime. So this team desperately needs receiver help. So I would be okay with it. I still think, gun to head, my money's on edge rusher tonight, and specifically Malachi Lawrence. He's the guy that I really target as, not only would he fit the value of where they're picking, but he's the guy that's like a much different skill set versus what they already have in Rousseau and Bradley Chubb. When you look at some of the other guys that are available in this draft, and if the Bills are going to go early on edge, I need it to be somebody that brings a different skill set, the quick win, almost like the finesse move. Keldrick Falk, to me, who is a better prospect than Malachi Lawrence, is very redundant with Rousseau and Chubb. So from that standpoint, I don't know how excited I'd be about that. Like, yeah, he's a good player, but I feel like you're just adding more of what you already have. I do think Malachi Lawrence has interesting upset. I also like the guy you mentioned on our mock draft, Cassius Howell. I think he's somebody that would be very exciting in this spot. So I do think edge is going to be something that could tempt the Bills, but this edge class is so deep. Edge could be a position where if they trade back with the Cardinals for Ty Simpson, they could still get a really quality edge on day two, even if it's like a TJ Parker or a Zion Young out of Mizzou, or if Messidor were to fall because people are concerned about his age. I think there's enough edges in this class that they could get one and still go back into the 30s or early 40s. All right, so the Raiders are on the clock. We have a faster clock this year, right, Luka? 8 minutes for the first round?
Down to 8 minutes. So, I mean, there's a realistic chance that we're flying through this depending on how, trades or whatever else shakes out, things like that. I love that they're doing this overall. Like, just let's get this moving here. I mean, it's crazy to think that, how long ago was it when we were at 15-minute per pick? I want to say maybe 10 years, a little over 10 years, or not even 10 years. But, it was down to 10 minutes last year, and it's already down to 8 minutes this year. It's Jesus. This year's Josh Rosen, huh?
Luka, do I want TNT or True TV? Is there a difference?
There shouldn't be a difference. I don't believe. I'm on TNT. I wish I could watch it through MSG or Gotham Sports because they don't have MSG on YouTube TV. But sadly, I can't because it's so far behind. I'm like, yeah, I can't be doing that. TNT's unfortunately in my setup.
What's the clock at on your game right now?
17:39, 17:38.
I'm 4 seconds behind you, so this is actually pretty good.
Perfect.
All right. I am glad Costa's in the house tonight, not only because I always like when Costa's here, but the Giants are going to be a big part of the storyline early because with the Dexter Lawrence trade this week, they pick twice in the top 10. There's a lot of steam right now with them being infatuated with Jordan Tyson and potentially even taking him with their earliest of their 2 picks. That would feel rich to me. But if you look at the draft as if like, if you only look at it like there's one elite receiver and you want to get that elite receiver and then say also get an edge or also get, a linebacker or whatever, something else, I could see that being the way the Giants go it because the drop off after Tyson, in my opinion, is pretty significant. There's also been talk about Jeremiah Love to the Giants. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me unless this is Mara trying to get his get back for letting Saquon Barkley go. But Costa, with you being in here, Bruins took a 1-0 lead. Let me know what you're thinking about the Giants. And anybody else in chat tonight, let me know what you're thinking about your team, what you're thinking about what's going to happen in the top of the draft. Costa says he wants Downs badly. I think the NFL, I'm going to let Luka just have a moment. May happen from time to time.
Of all fucking people, Tanner Janot. Oh my God. Just and near post. You sneak it in. Oh my. Disgusting. Sorry.
Did you agree with the move to start Lyon tonight?
Yes. You let in that second goal if you're UPL. Okay,
the pop fly.
Yeah, you can't.
Bad, man.
With the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana.
And with that, the draft starts because that is what we all knew. And now it really could go any other direction because the Jets, if they stick and pick at 2, have been tied to really 2 players, Reese and Bailey. The thought with Reese was if you want somebody with more upside, I just realized I never gave Stokes the link to this thing. So I'm going to, after I make this
I
point,
can do that.
Okay, perfect. Reese is more upside. He's younger, but he's a less proven pass rusher. You're projecting his athletic attributes to be a pass rusher, where Bailey's a cleaner projection. You've seen him rush the passer in college, but he's an older player. And some think that he has a lower ceiling. As I've gotten older in my NFL fandom, I don't really buy the high ceiling, low floor stuff anymore. I feel like that's assuming we know enough about these prospects where it's like, oh, we can't tell you what quarterback's going to be good or bad, but we can tell you this guy definitively has a low ceiling. Like, no, if he's good, he's good. So I don't know what the Jets will do. I feel like they should take the younger, more upside player if that's what you believe, but their defense was so bad. And then it got significantly worse when they traded away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. If they want to go with the proven pass rusher and Bailey, I would understand it. And that seems to be the way the insiders, were leaning as of this morning. But honestly, the Jets picking at 2 here, they should do everything they can to get out and get more assets because they are really like 4 or 5 impact players away, especially at quarterback, from really mattering.
You bring up, being numerous pieces away. I mean, 2 and 3 are really in the same boat here, the Jets and the Cardinals. And that's why I thought it's very funny how there was just a singular message of, hey, are they going to take Reese? Are they going to take Bailey? Things like that. And it's like, you can absolutely understand if they take one or the other, things like that. It's like, these are premier players in a draft and you are in the position to be able to take them. They should be able to help you from day one and put you in the right direction. But at the same time, considering the draft that you're in and kind of where we could go potentially, it's just like there's nothing wrong with moving back to accumulate even more and let someone else sell out to get someone like that might not be in a position, of course, currently right now, that is also just one or two pieces away from being a legitimate contender and or making some serious moves and doing whatever they need to do. So I find it fascinating. There's legitimate tiers to the teams that are picking this year, and the top three being the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Jets. They are clearly, and you can throw the Browns in there partially, in my opinion, but those three to me are like the top echelon of, they are 4 or 5 pieces away. Like, do what you can, get stuff in, so on and so forth. That, it's.
Costa said love bothers him. Now, again, that's through the lens of a Giants fan, but he's one of the very few blue chip elite prospects, so he gets it. I really think it comes down to what's the future look like for Cam Skattebo, because when he was playing, it looked fantastic, but massive lower half of the body injury. You never know how somebody's going to come back from that, particularly at running back that just relies on that agility and explosion. And a player like Love, you can't really, like, I never want to listen to like, oh, you could line him up in the slot, because teams really just don't do that. But if he could be your bell cow running back, and then Skattebo is just more of like a backup, change of pace back, it doesn't feel like they're addressing their biggest need. But I don't have access to Cam Skattebo's medicals. And to Costa's point, the draft at its core is about taking the best players. It's not necessarily about like what's your immediate need. And if you just believe that Jeremiah Love is destined to wear a gold jacket someday, then you just take him and you figure it out. So, but I would be very excited about Downs if I were Costa. To me, that's a guy that changes your defense. And, there's a lot of egg on their face about McKinney going to Green Bay and lighting it up. And, McKinney never played like that for the Giants. He was good there, but he was never the player he is now. I think Downs is a culture setting type of player. I think he makes you super multiple on defense. And it's not lost on me that John Harbaugh, the two best teams he ever had in Baltimore, had Ed Reed and Kyle Hamilton. And when you have those level of players on your defense, you can do so much with the rest of your defense, because those guys are just the ultimate joker that can play anywhere. The Jets pick is in.
With the second pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select David Bailey, linebacker, Texas Tech.
David Bailey's the pick. The Jets go with the quote-unquote safe player, but hey, they get a good edge rusher. Many consider the best edge rusher in the class. The Jets need a lot of help. This guy should certainly help their defense. Awkward situation in New York where, first-year head coach comes in, does terrible, fires all of his coordinators, and now the arrow is certainly pointing at him. They still don't have an answer at quarterback, but at least now they have somebody in a division with Josh Allen and Drake May, Luka, who can get the quarterback. Before you hop in, I want to say hello to Weston. One of our favorite Chiefs fans is in chat tonight. He's saying they're trading up the top. There's been a lot of smoke about the Chiefs trading up. Luka, I think you're spot on with our mock draft. I think the Chiefs are very heavy after cornerback and secondary help, particularly with this first pick. We'll see what happens. I don't know they'd have to trade up to do that, but that seems like the way they're going to go. Weston, who would you like them to be trading up for if that was your idea?
Oh, Weston wants them taking Tyson. I read the
three
stuff. I read the things now. I see what's going on. Like I get it.
Bingo. That is ban worthy. If you tweet stuff, please, then thank you.
I just looked down for a second. I see Matthias Samuelson just gliding down on his side on the ice. That was interesting.
If anybody tips stuff from Twitter, you will get insta banned. Actually, they'll just get you won't get banned, but just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. No spoilers, no tips, no nothing. We don't do that in here. Listen to Schrager talk about how put your phones away and enjoy it. He would like Reese. I mean, obviously, if you're trading up to 3, that is what you're doing. I would imagine. I was just joking because I know Weston has been in here before, stating that he would thoroughly enjoy Tyson going to the Chiefs just for a singular reaction, as on top of him being an absolute quality wide receiver. But
Tyson going to the Chiefs would break our show more than Xavier Worthy going to the Chiefs. Roy Collins is proving to yet again be one of the most sane people we know, saying he doesn't do social media. You have figured out the quality of life glitch, my friend.
I respect it. I respect
Me too. I wish I could do it.
Yeah, that's I find myself wanting to get there more and more with every waking day. I will say that. I mean, we open up the X app once in a while with what we're doing. Josh, it's you're like, boy, whoa, what a world we live in that I did not know many of these things and people existed. That's for sure.
I will say there's some quality of life stuff that since Elon Musk has taken over X that has made it better. Like the For You or the following tab, just ignore the For You. It's never For You. It's literally like the worst of that app. If you go to following, and now there's a way you can customize your following, which I'm going to definitely play around with on Bill's chat to where like we are only seeing football conversations because love y'all, but I just have no interest in hearing your thoughts on world issues. Like I do this, Luka and I do this as an escape, not to talk about gas prices. We pay those every time we go to the gas pump. So just like you all do. At 60, Roy Collins telling his age. At 62, I didn't grow up in the social media era, so it's easy for me. I respect that, Roy.
God damn.
At 29, it was just part of my youth.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's the sad reality, but the truth of it all. It's like you just grow up like I still remember life without a phone and stuff like that. I was right in that weird wheelhouse where no phone, stuff like that. But then you get a flip phone by the time you're in high school. Eventually the first Android hits the market and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. This isn't the crappy internet like the BlackBerry used to be and stuff. This is functional. Apps are great. You can do this. Next thing you know, it's like people can operate their business off of their phone. They don't even need computers anymore. You don't need any of that stuff. It's always interesting. Arizona being down to 130. I was going to say, Josh,
bad form by me to not ask you what Arizona should do here.
They are working phones if they're down to 130 here. They are trying to finalize a trade. I would find it very hard to believe that they're this indecisive on what they want to do. So they are clearly trying to find a suitor to move and do whatever they can. Oh my God, get that. Ah! Yeah. Sorry.
Frustrating.
God, can't get it through fucking sea of bodies. Oh, it's just so frustrating getting goalied night after night. It's so frustrating. Oh my God. Yeah, if there's any children out there, just apologize. If you're watching this, there's gonna be some words. You know, we don't ever preface ourselves as being a family show and stuff like that. Although we always try to watch ourselves and be as respectful as possible. But at the same time,
we are two dads too, so we should probably,
mine. I mean, if mine's not asleep right now, I'll be very upset.
If yours is watching and taking it all in, we got some other things.
She was sitting in my lap wanting to watch the Sabres game because it was a little bit late to bedtime. I was like, "Mom's got to take you away. We can't be having you staying up for Sabres games quite yet."
All right, let's see here. And the pick is in. The Cardinals will not be trading out, which is big because there was some speculation if they were to trade down to, say, the teens with a team like Dallas, that could be getting themselves into position for a Ty Simpson. You think this is going to be O-line?
So I think they were hot on the Miami tackle because I think they wanted him the most, but they didn't want to take him at 3. So I'm very curious to see if they ended up just going with their guy here, or they do take a Jeremiah Love and or Arvell Reese or Jordan Tyson. No, don't please. Well, last time Cardinals had a 3rd pick and took a receiver, it worked out pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. Jordan Tyson is not Larry Fitzgerald. As much as I love the man, he is not that.
Are we sure?
I love Jordan Tyson, but yeah.
With the 3rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Jeremiah Love.
Oh, baby. Ooh. Wow.
Thoughts?
Second best player in the draft. You took him at 3.
Hang on a second. Luka, I don't have any alcohol here, but what we're going to do now is we're going to pour one out for all those people in Dynasty football that have been holding Trey Benson shares for 2 years. That is officially done.
Yeah. I will love it. I love Jeremiah Love. I love him a lot. He's in my opinion, second best player in the draft. I think he's phenomenal. From a purely like pick 3 positional value, what you can do, I don't quite get that, but I will say this. The fact that they went all the way down to like a minute left on the clock before making this pick, that to me indicated they did everything they could to potentially move down, fielded offers, listened to people, and just did not get what they wanted. And on top of it all, they're just going with this. And I will also, on your fantasy note, if you are an individual that is in dynasty drafts and things like that, Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals should be something you are thrilled about right now. I think that him going into now a baby McVay system should be very interesting.
Let's just quickly talk about the skill positions in Arizona. You have Michael Wilson, who looked like a number 1 last year. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who's still developing. You have inarguably the best tight end in the sport in Trey McBride. And now you have Jeremiah Love, who some analysts ranked up there with Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson level prospect. If they figure out the quarterback situation, which could have a massive swing in about 2 hours if they trade back up, it is all set up for that quarterback to have tons around him. So don't know if it'll work, but Jeremiah Love, I forgot they have Tyler Algier too, don't they?
Yeah, they have Tyler Algier. When they signed Tyler Algier, though, I really thought that was the first indication, like they're going to be reshaping the entire backfield. And now taking Jeremiah Love, it's like, yeah, obviously they're hey, look, you got Jeremiah Love and then Tyler Algier backing him up. Mm-hmm. That kind of formula, similarly so, worked in Atlanta for a few years. So I mean, now it's just, hey, you're gonna try to replicate that early success you had with a Bijan Algier with now a Love Algier situation. All is
James
love.
Conner will be a former Cardinal before you know it. Actually, isn't he at the draft?
He's announcing the picks tomorrow for the Cardinals.
Awkward.
So
East Melissa's here. I always like saying hi to her. I haven't done that yet. Always good to see you in here.
When I heard that happening too, I feel like they've done current players before, but I don't feel like that's a regular thing. And I don't think they do, like teams do that very often where you do a currently active player, like they're in your current plans moving forward and stuff announcing. Usually it's, a noteworthy player of your franchise, things like that. Yeah, I find that very interesting. What if James Conner just doesn't show up to announce the picks tomorrow? Wouldn't that be something?
Miss him? To be honest.
Yeah, that would be interesting to say the least. Titans pick is in already.
They'll find a farm animal or something. Or they save those for like day 3, don't they? The farm animals and the zoo animals and all that stuff.
Yeah. I would imagine Josh Titans here at 4 is going to be Arvell Reese, right?
Yeah, I would say so too. It definitely feels like a front 7 player, and that would either be Reese or gosh, why is my brain the elite linebacker from Ohio State whose name is just something's going on. 1 second. I love when I have brain fart right on the show. Sonny Styles, yes. I would think Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese. They picked very quickly. What else could they do? If they want to give support to their young quarterback, I guess they could do that. It feels very early for a receiver, but they're not going to take the tight end Sadiq. I had a feeling about Styles to the Titans for a while. You think about Robert Saleh. You think about the fact that in New York, he had CJ Mosley in his prime. In San Francisco, his previous stint there, he had Fred Warner in his prime. He loves those game-changing, difference-making linebackers. And, I just think Sonny Styles, I think Sonny Styles is more of a, what you're getting, and Arvell Reese is more of a roll of the dice where I just think they're going to go Sonny Styles, which really puts the Giants in a spot where they could go Reese, and they have some names there, but that just be a situation where BPA is staring them in the face and they just have to do it?
Yeah.
You have no idea what I just said. You're watching.
I was loosely hearing it, but yeah, watching Darlene tomahawk slash because he had to on a mini breakaway and then awarding a penalty shot, which Lyon came over the huge save. Like obviously a big moment where, boom, just like, good God. See,
I'm just doing what I do, Mr. Tattoo. I'm just doing what I do. My guy has not had a Sabres playoff series for, what is it, 16 years?
14. Don't
14
go over
years.
A decade and a half here. Oh, wait, hold up.
NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans select Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State.
Oh, wow. Hey, Josh, why don't you break that one down?
My daughter's calling me. Yeah, I'll gladly break it down. The Titans, you know what? I'm going to answer this call in the air. Just let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Hi, Lily. You're on the show right now, so I'm going to put it on mute and talk to you, and then I'll come back and tell Luka how much I hate that pick.
Oh, wow. Titans if I had to guess, Titans wanted Jeremiah Love. They wanted a weapon. Don't get Jeremiah Love. And somehow, some way found themselves talking to themselves into Carnell Tate. Yeah, the Giant. If you are a Giants fan, if you're Joe Shane right now, you are in shock. Let's go! Woo! Yes! You are in shock right now if you're the Giants.
Hockey stuff.
Oh, Byram, you beauty. So yeah, if you're the Giants and you have your choice of Styles, Reese, I mean, the Giants have a board currently right now that I imagine anyone they even said was potential is still sitting there. If Costa, tell me if I'm wrong, but if I imagine they probably anticipated, of course, Fernando being gone, not that they were in the Fernando market. And then from there, it's like they were interested in Carnell Tate, but not at 5, or they were potentially flirting with the idea of Jeremiah Love, but not their first option. And their loves would have probably been on the defensive side of the ball, and it would have been a Styles, a Reese, whoever it is, we don't know yet. But this clock is probably ticking because they have to have a conversation they had no idea was going to pick. Oh, and as I say that, the pick is in, but they probably had to take a minute or two to have a conversation that they had no idea they were going to be having, let's say 4 minutes ago. Joe Shane was like, oh, so the guy we had clearly circled, do we still want to go with him, or do we want to flirt with this idea now because he's available randomly? Tanner Jeannot's going to the box. Sabres tied it up. Power play actually has looked like a little bit of a threat. Them running this pick in, as I will put up Costa's thing, that's what I'm reacting to. Them running this pick in right now tells me they got their number one guy. That's Costa, in my opinion. I think they had a quick discussion about what do we want to do? Are we still wanting to go with this guy who he said percentage-wise and or was circled at the top of our board? Is this who we want to go to? And go around the room, and it's like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. And it's like, boom, they just ran it in after a 2-minute conversation.
So, yeah, the Giants are elated because they actually have 2 players there they could take. They could take Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese. I feel like they're going to take an Ohio State linebacker. Speaking of Ohio State, I don't understand Tate going there. It's empowering your quarterback. You're giving him a weapon. I understand it, but trade down to do that. He's not the best wide receiver in this class. He's not an elite athlete. He wasn't the best wide receiver on his team. He's never been a number 1 wide receiver. His metrics, his catch numbers, nothing about him screams top 5 pick in the draft. And I just feel like the Titans panicked and they wanted to get Cam Ward a weapon, and they did it, and they just bypassed way better players.
The one thing I'll put respect on is saying he's factual. You are correct. He was not the number 1 receiver on his own team. Jeremiah Smith is, I mean, we're talking like he's NFL Julio playing college football right now. Like he stepped into college football and it's like, oh, this is the best receiver in college football. and he hasn't played a snap yet. Like, did you ever see the reaction to Ryan Day when he was in a press conference when someone had to like inform him that that Jeremiah Smith gave it the thumbs up and signed letter of intent? Have you seen that clip?
Mm-mm.
It's the funniest clip. He's sitting there it's normal spring day or something like that. I forget what it is, but it's not mid-season. And all of a sudden someone in his press room's like, Jeremiah Smith, signed the letter of intent, and his eyes lit up. He's like, really? We got him? Because I think, if memory serves me right, there was a lot of linkage to him going to, I want to say it was Miami. It was either Miami. I know it was a Florida school. I want to say it was Miami. They might have even talked about it during the playoff game, which I know that playoff game in specific I did not catch too much of. But I think it was Miami, and he just like flipped and went to Ohio State. I'm sure because the money was a little bit better. But yeah.
My guy X is in chat. Luka, this is the commissioner of your NCAA dynasty that we've joined. X, where are we going tomorrow night? I texted the group chat. Where are we going to go watch the day 2 of the draft? I'll just ask you while you're here. Costa, you're coming into focus here. I think it's going to be sunny. What is this going on?
It's a spam. I'm going to.
I think it's going to be Sonny Styles, but you could make the argument to go Caleb Downs here because the fact that there's 2 elite linebackers left. So if you wanted to roll the dice, I don't think Styles or Reese will fall to 10 where the Giants are picking. We are going to Hooters. Okay, good to know. I was thinking it was Dave and Buster's, but
I didn't either way, know those establishments still existed. Didn't they file bankruptcy?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to Hooters. I don't know that I wanted to say that on the air. Here we are. Sabres are out shooting.
Yeah, I mean, the Sabres have looked miles better today than they did in game 2. I will say that. I mean, game 2 was just atrocious, to be quite frank. Game 1 was still, I would say, overall a better performance. They were just getting goalied for so long until Tage put him on his back. But this is like I would say their power play is by far the best tonight. They shook things up and they're actually able to enter the zone, possess, things like that. That's like, thank God.
That alone is way better than the previous 2 games where it's like you almost want them to not be on the power play.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the jokes, it wasn't even a joke anymore. Everyone, game 2, I heard there was new fans. I couldn't believe in a game 2 playoff game of some of the most expensive resale tickets, there were new fans to the sport sitting near me. And they're like, are you not allowed to decline penalties in the hockey? And I was like,
oh Lord.
I was like, oh boy. No, you're not. Although I love where your head's at right now, because if that was an option, I think even Lindy at this moment would be like, yeah, we don't want it. But also you're opening up a huge can of worms of problems if you decline penalties in hockey.
I'm thinking ahead here for the Giants. If they take Downs, and then you have Cleveland sitting at 8. We know Cleveland's trying to get back. They want an offensive lineman. Could you sweeten the pot a little bit, go from 10 to 8, get Downs and Styles or Downs and Reese? And I mean, like, holy cow, it's out of the park.
Yeah, I almost wonder if you go with your guy. I'm going to unmute here.
Taps.
Just going to pick it up once I hear him actually say the pick is in. I do find it interesting if you do go kind of reverse, like, hey, let's get our guy that we wanted at 10, and now we could even maybe move up at the cost of like a 4th and maybe a 7th or something, a couple spots, whatever. I don't know what the calculator is off the top of my head, but do something like that. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense to me.
They show that long-haired Thor-looking Giants fan at every single draft. I don't know if he's like Mr. Giants fan. Costa, what's his deal? But they show him at every single draft. It's the worst feeling in the world. I'm about to say something that's just the worst. It makes me a terrible person. But it's the worst feeling in the world when your team is on the clock and then they decide to do like a salute to service or something. And it's like, just tell me who we picked. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's
not the worst thing in the world. But it builds anticipation that you didn't expect.
The 2026 NFL
Here we go.
Draft. The New York Football Giants select Arvell Reese, linebacker from the Ohio State University.
Arvell Reese. You could make the argument the Giants just got the best player in the draft with the 5th pick, and now all eyes are on who's going to fall to them at the 10 spot. I liked Reese better than Bailey. I feel like there's multiple places you could play him. And, where the Giants are at, they got a freakish athlete to go along with Abdul Carter on that defense. The Giants are benefiting from having some of these really high picks that they get. But I think they're making some smart picks with them too, which is always important.
A buddy a buddy just texted me something and I was just like, whoa, don't spoil picks for me. Although I don't know if he was spoiling a pick or if he was just like saying he's about, like, he just placed a bet, because he's definitely someone that's trying to bet draft picks, which that's a whole other conversation that I'm just like, how can you be betting for draft picks? But yeah, so I was just like, whoa. We don't spoil here. He's like, I apologize.
Well, and also we can talk about Caleb Downs all we want to, but the story is the Giants are really hard after Jordan Tyson. So,
yeah, well, Chiefs moved up.
Oh, I just got that ESPN alert. Yep. Chiefs have moved up. Where are you, Weston? What? Oh, they're moving up for Caleb Downs. 1,000% moving up for Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs at 6 with Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Caleb Downs is, in my opinion, the best player in this year's draft. So that would make a lot of sense to me as I edit these picks, because as much as I love trades for production purposes, people hate them. Just makes my life a lot more difficult on the ticker. But what you call it? Yeah, Kansas City moving up here. Downs. I'm going to just stay in the mindset of it's a DB. I would imagine it's a DB. Maybe, and Downs would make a lot of sense because Downs is the best DB in the draft. And if you're moving up 3 spots, you're concerned about whoever this is going either to Washington or New Orleans. And those are 2 teams that are pretty safety dependent. So that would make a lot of sense to me. But at the same time, Josh,
I think because like Delaney, I don't know that you'd have to move up to do that. Unless I'm not thinking of somebody.
No, I mean, it would be Downs, unless for whatever. Do you think?
By the way, we said don't post tweets in chat. If you see the trade compensation, please post that in chat.
Yeah. Compensation's fine. Because we TV will put it up eventually, but maybe if it's tweeted out first, of course, because they're going through whatever stuff they have. We are always for it. Although I think they put it up and we just missed it because we were so distracted with other stuff, Josh.
I'll go to Twitter if I happen to see who the Chiefs are taking. I just won't say it.
Because I saw like a sidebar, and they don't do the sidebar all the time, and I think it was there, unless that was just more further things on Arvell Reese. Jeez Louise.
All right. The Chiefs have traded pick 9, pick 74 in that's an early round 3, and pick 141, which I think is round 5. So they moved up 3 spots and gave up a 3 and a 5. I mean, I don't have a trade value chart in front of me, but that seems like a good deal for both teams.
I mean, to secure your guy, and you're in the premier spot, right? You're in the top 10 spot. To do a 3 and a 5 for that, it's a good move by the Chiefs, in my opinion. I think that's solid. Oh man. They had a huge hit piece on Arvell Reese. I think that's because they anticipated him being 3rd overall, Josh. They are really doing a lot of Arvell Reese stuff, which he was, of course, a premier guy in this draft. But
man, Ted Ginn is aging like milk. I'm kidding. I know that's his dad. People, relax. Oh man. Kayvon Thibodeau a goner. I bet you could get some good value for him. Or maybe they just want to rush the passer in waves.
I mean, could you bargain shop for Kayvon? Josh, could we bargain shop for Kayvon?
What can we get for him?
We'll give up a 6th.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you an all-pro returner.
Yeah. Although, on pass rusher discussion with the Bills, I will say I saw a lot of discussion about like that Javon Solomon's name keeps coming up.
Yeah, to me, that's just draft week chatter.
26 NFL draft. The Kansas City Chiefs select Mansour Delane.
We got one right, Josh. Woo!
I mean, they just wanted their guy and they made sure they got their guy. That's all that is. They didn't want to risk
paying up. So IMO, in my opinion, they were just overly concerned about one of those two teams potentially taking him. That would be the only thing I can think of. And they truly wanted him. And I will tell you through my research, Josh, his name couldn't come up enough. It was like Mansour Delane. I was like, I'm not a huge buyer of smoking stuff, but I like to pay attention to it. But this feels like a full-on dumpster fire and a half. I'm not saying that in a bad sense. I'm just saying like someone lit a dumpster fire and just keeps feeding it because it's like the smoke is coming from something that's burning black here. This is more than just your typical smoke screen. I like the player a lot. I do find it interesting that they did move the 3 and a 5. Again, I think that's not overpaying to just ensure you get your guy. I guess that's the way to put it. And Washington's pick is already in.
I mean, they did the same thing a few years back with McDuffie, and they got him, and it worked out great. Yeah. X, if you're still here, let me know what you think of Delane. You're a cornerback guru in my mind, so, and I know you're an SEC guy. So now for the Giants' sake, there's 4 picks left, and they still have Sonny Styles. Who we still got out there? Sonny Styles. Who else would the Giants be looking at here? Oh, Caleb Downs, obviously. And then if they wanted to go with the wide receiver and Tyson, they could do that too. So, I mean, no reason for the Giants to panic at this point. The Commanders desperately need receiver help. Like, people don't realize Treylon Burks is their number 2 receiver right now. And Terry McLaurin feels like he's always in a contract dispute. So, I don't know. I mean,
we're big in Tyson watch now.
I think so too.
Massive in Tyson watch. I think to Washington makes a lot of sense. I wasn't totally buying it when I did my research on the pick, but makes sense. And then the Saints, I've been telling a lot of people that I know that are betting draft picks. I was like, Tyson at 8 would be my bet. Like, I would be like, I think that's what you ended up doing in our mock, and I couldn't agree more. I was like, I think the threat of the Chiefs being slightly behind them might have even played into that a little bit more. Now that's not there, but also I just think the Saints moving on from Shaheed, trading him at the deadline, and then him still not, they didn't really recover anything. They didn't get anything else in house. And what would be interesting, Josh, I will say, we'll see what the Commanders do here. But if then in turn you have the Saints ending up with Tyson, having the injury flagged premier receiver of this draft with the concussion flagged receiver number 1 that you currently have. It's like, if at full health, great. But there is so much flags in the room.
I feel like Costa's living room is going to have a loud explosion if it's Tyson here, because then the Downs thing becomes real, because it feels like the Saints are wide receiver or bust. And then you just have to hope that the Browns mess it up. And they seem to be looking at either wide receiver or corner. It would be amazing, like an amazing bad turn of events for the Saints to desperately need a receiver to have both Tyson and Tate off the board before they pick at 8. I did not see that coming if that's what happens. But Costa, if this is Tyson, you're looking at a scenario where Styles or Downs could very realistically fall to you.
Is he walking out right now?
Another specialty pick from the National Football League.
Oh, we got a specialty.
Oh man, who's
low volume?
Jerome Bettis. What's he doing with the Commanders?
Well, it's Hall of Famers. I wonder if it's a Hall of Fame situation, maybe.
The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year
Oh.
Award, presented by Nationwide, is awarded to one player.
At this volume, Josh, can you still hear me loud and clear?
You sound crystal clear to me.
Beautiful. All right. So then I just wanted a baseline metric that I'm using on my level over here that I know I can bring it down to, but it's still on.
Costa, this is the NFL draft. We are here to get our hopes up and have them crushed like bugs. That's what we do.
Just wait. If Boston scores an OT winner or something, I won't give a shit.
Luka just logs off.
No, I'll probably just collapse and then chug a beer on the floor and out of my beer saver to my right here. Which, fun fact while they're doing this, if the Sabres do win, there will be a beer getting chugged on this camera. Out of
Good
that
to know.
thing right there. So
I will chug a Coke Zero. in support. Speaking of which, after this pick, I'm going to go get a refill and empty the bladder again. Here we go.
NFL Draft,
Jordan Tyson.
Commanders select Sonny Styles.
Okay. Good pick.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
That changes things. Although I don't think the Giants were going to go for Styles because they already got Reese, unless they just view Reese as a pure pass rusher. All right. With that being said, the Saints are on the clock. We expect this to be Jordan Tyson or a trade back. I'm going to go get a refill and empty the bladder. So I'll be back in a minute or two.
This board could not be falling any better for the Giants. I mean, this is madness. This is crazy. We're highlighting Giants again. If anyone's tuned in of late, we're highlighting Giants because there is someone we both mutually know that is Giants focused and stuff. So being that they had 2 picks in the top 10, I think this is overall just all class and quality for the Giants in their situation. They could even be in a position that they could move back if they wanted, depending on how New Orleans and Cleveland pick here at 8 and 9 respectively. This is definitely a situation where what will be interesting is Miami's been heavily linked to being wide receiver based at 11. So the Giants could potentially be sitting in a spot of power when it comes to anyone that wants to jump the Dolphins and get to that 10th spot to take a receiver of their liking, just to ensure that the Dolphins don't end up with the person that they want. Depending on, again, how the Saints and Browns pick here. Saints rush their pick in. So yeah, I can't believe I can believe the Cardinals pick at 3. I think it's still surprising, but I can believe it. The Tate pick at 4. Holy shit. I mean, and now we're at Saints. I mean, this is in our mock. We took Tyson at 8 here. We just got done talking about it. Tyson to the Saints was not going to fall any further. The pick was rushed in. The top 7 that were taken were probably the 7 expected for the most part, Tate being maybe the one caveat. And you could have talked about an offensive lineman being taken at that spot, or in the top 7 that if you're the Saints. But yeah, I'm with Costa here. I know Josh is, even though he's not here, I imagine Josh also shares the thought here. We believe that once this pick gets announced, it's going to be Tyson. I will say, with my personal bias of Jordan Tyson, I would love that. I think that's it's an open and free space with, I'll call it lesser expectations than some other franchises, while also still having another legitimate receiver on the roster and a young quarterback that he can kind of work with and that will be dedicated. And it's not, he needs to get on his rhythm. They can work together. And I don't think that's always the way. It's like anyone that comes into the house with Josh Allen is just going to want to feed off of him just from everything you've seen with his experience. But Tyler Shuck showed late last season that, he's got some baller gene to him, that now he's young and promising. And he's been handed the keys, that overall a Tyson going into that situation, if that's who it is, would be a lot of fun, I think, for Jordan Tyson. And I will say this, I own no legitimate Saints jerseys that I would be buying a Jordan Tyson Saints jersey. I will say, if Jordan Tyson ended up as a Dolphin, I would not buy it. If Jordan Tyson ended up as a Patriot, I would not buy it. If Jordan Tyson ended up as a Jet, probably still wouldn't buy it. And then dirty ass Seahawk, Niner, absolutely not. Chief, yeah, definitely not. Trying to think, but yeah, Cowboy. If it's the Saints pick, I would buy it. Yeah, I would buy it. Cowboy, I would get the Thanksgiving style Cowboy jersey. I think those are just clean looking. I think those look good. That I could get over it. I would only be wearing it probably like on Thanksgiving then moving forward to root for Tyson. But unless the Bills were playing or Cardinals or whatever. But yeah, I would buy a Cowboys jersey, I think. I'm trying to think who else I wouldn't buy. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I would even buy a Rams jersey. I will say I am actually going to be buying a Rams jersey, Josh. Fun fact.
Really? Stafford?
No. Got to get my 2025 fantasy winner jersey. also known as Jared Verse. And I even joked with Nino, who I had a miraculous comeback on that Monday night game.
You finally won a league?
Oh, yeah. Fun fact for anyone that cares, that not that anyone does other than Josh probably. I had Bijan Robinson and Jared Verse going into the final day with a huge deficit. And somehow, some way on that Monday night game, Bijan, of course, goes off and does his thing. But then Jared Verse, of all people, blocks the fuel and runs it back for a touchdown. And that is how I won by, I think, 4 points overall. And so I will be buying a Jared Verse jersey. I'll probably be getting it framed with a plaque that just says 2025 Fantasy Champion and call it the Monday Night Football IDP Miracle. And then I'll make sure Nino has to sit next to it at least on week 1. Yeah.
Love it. There's no NBA games on until 30 minutes from now when I have to go split screen.
The NBA has no playoff games until 9:30.
They recognize the lay of the land on draft night.
Wow. I mean, this I guess is there no did they stack East Coast teams like yesterday then? Like,
the Knicks were yesterday. Tonight, I know Nuggets Timberwolves because that's the one I'm just locked into.
Yeah.
That might be the only game tonight.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking logistically, it's like, yes, you want to try to avoid the NFL draft, but is there a game on right now?
Knicks and Hawks are playing right now. I just didn't see it on it didn't suggest it on my TV.
I was going to say, just logistically, I don't know if you can truly avoid and navigate around that. Is it on Prime or something?
It's on Prime and like Peacock. I'm going to go to Prime. No, I'm not because I'll forget about the hockey game.
Is your Nuggets game at least like on? It's not TNT. What would it be then? ESPN.
Nuggets are on. They actually might be on Prime too. Now that I think about it, I don't watch NBA. Full transparency. They're on Prime, so I'm gonna have to get creative because I'm not taking Sabres off of there. I'll probably put Nuggets on my phone for the first half because luckily the first half of an NBA game just don't get any injuries because the game will come down to the fourth quarter.
Right. Yeah. No, that's valid. You could just have it on your phone. Just prop it on your phone so you at least have some sort of eyes on it.
That'll be the move.
Yeah, that's fair.
Saints pick is in. We are expecting Jordan Tyson, I assume. Field Yates.
Yeah, when you're away, kind of just talking about what these picks would break down to. Did I fill in? Yeah, I did the amazing. Yeah, so Saints is in, and it really feels like this will be our first perfect pick of the draft, other than Fernando Mendoza. We're not even counting that, to be quite honest. Or no, we did David Bailey, right? You did David Bailey at 2?
I had Reese.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then yes, this will be our first perfect. Although I will stay. Josh, am I allowed to take credit for a correct pick of Mansour Delane? I think I should be able to get that because they moved out of their way to get him. So yeah, all right. We're at 1, and I think I'm pretty confident this will be 2. On our live stream, Josh.
With the 8th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Jordan Tyson.
Saints.
Wide receiver, Arizona State.
All right. We got one right.
Jordan is celebrating.
That's our first perfect pick, Josh. Congrats to you on our first perfect pick.
But we did get Delane right to the right team. And if the Browns go Fano?
Yes.
Is he right? Yeah. Because you had the Giants taking the.
Yes. So what I will say is this
up,
just
Sham,
fun,
by the way.
Fun fact for anyone. This is the first round pick out of Arizona State, first top 10 pick out of Arizona State since Baller U Terrell Suggs. So 2003, if anyone's trying to keep track there. It's pretty exciting. And then the Arizona State can be, if Ian Knocker is taken by the end of the first round, it'd be the first time they had 2 first round picks since I believe the year was 2000, and it was Adam Archuleta and it was another notable guy that I'm blanking on right now, but this is pretty exciting as an ASU guy. And like I had said before this pick, love him going to the Saints because I think it'll just be more fun and enjoyable for him. I think there's going to be less expectations and pressure, and just he'll be able to play loose and do his thing. And then playing in that area will just be awesome. I'm happy. I'm happy for him overall. I'm very, very excited for him to go there.
So we are still waiting for Caleb Downs to find a home. Costa's got to be getting very nervous. Costa said, take Lemon. Browns are excited. It's got to be O-line, though, right? Like, to me, it comes down to, how do you feel Fano can do at tackle, or are you just okay with the fact that he could be a backup plan at guard? Because I think by most metrics, he's considered the best prospect in the class. And then if you want just a pure tackle, then you're taking, I'm going to butcher his name, Maugoa or whatever from Miami. Browns ran the pickup. Jordan Tyson crying. Excited for him. It's got to be scary as hell, man, to be like that level of an athlete and then have an injury happen that close to draft day. I mean, you can just see the emotion all over his face. Good for him.
Yeah. What I find interesting is he's got a little bit of a gimp or limp to him and stuff like that.
He's ready for New Orleans.
Cool story, fun story, following along, stuff like that. And just like, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a lot more locked in on Saints games for the first time in what feels like forever. I mean, geez, I can't remember the last time I actually wanted to watch a Saints game. It's been a long, long time. I mean, even the later stretch of Drew Brees era, it's not like you weren't watching them because they were the high flying Drew Brees show. It was the more of Drew Brees check down mastermind offense and the Alvin Kamara breakout show. And it was like, I don't need to watch this. I don't need to watch Alvin Kamara get 47 touches.
Michael Thomas slant route.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Also, I told someone tonight that if New York State allowed us to bet on draft picks and where they would have gone, that I would have laid $500 on this pick. It's a damn shame we couldn't lay that, Josh.
Also, the bet I felt most comfortable in was Tyson being the first wide receiver off the board. I would have lost that one. And I just realized we desperately need Caleb Downs to go in the next two picks because him going to Miami would be awful.
So
what's Miami going to do if, I mean, are they going to reach for a receiver?
I still believe they're going to go receiver. I'm going to put that in the space. Everything that I listened to or watched or read told me they were so tuned in on receiver that that's their board. I'm going to tell you straight. Don't be surprised if I know you had the Jets taking Omar Cooper Jr. At 16. Do not be surprised one bit if he goes at 11 to Miami.
I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled.
I
mean, I don't want the receiver run to start this early, but here we are. It started.
Oh man, this is.
So what's on your mind right now?
Sabres. Just all Sabres. Yeah. Just all Sabres. It's a 1-1 game going to the third period, Josh.
Is there any way a Sabres win could happen tonight and you'd still go to bed angry?
A Sabres win?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Sabres win and the Bills draft a punter.
Don't care. Like, I'll let that be tomorrow's problem. We'll have our show talking about that, and I'll just be zoned out being like, hey, he must be the best punter in the league. I don't know.
Last time they drafted a punter, it was cool for one.
The Cleveland Browns select Spencer Fano.
There we go.
This pick number 3, Josh.
Now, he didn't specify a position. They list him on the screen as a tackle. We'll be curious to see what the Browns do. And Costa's dream scenario has played out now. And it makes way too much sense. Way too much sense at this point to go Downs. If they don't take Downs, what even would they do at this point?
So I made a comment. I think you were away. Depending on how the board broke down for the Giants, they could be in a position knowing that Miami was heavy receiver desire, that they hold a lot of cards. The pick is in. Okay. So they're not trading out, but I was thinking
excited about
they were down to a minute. I don't know if you saw that. it said down to a minute before it came on. So the pick legitimately just came in.
So TV's just behind.
Yeah. TV's just letting it fly.
Gotcha.
Unless that's just a visual glitch for the pick is in and notification, which I'm going to be hawked in on. But I was like, if anyone wants to move up, like say the Jets, if they were that big on Omar Cooper Jr., like, come on down, come up to 10, send us 16 and other stuff. Like it would have made sense. But yeah, this has to be Caleb Downs. Like,
yeah,
all Giants fans got to be feeling Downs right now. You know, it's Caleb Downs. Get down with Downs. Come on,
Downs.
The Giants only scouted one school.
Well, if there was a
Good
year to
school
only
scout.
scout one scout,
Yeah.
that would have been a good one. All right,
Here we go.
out there.
With the 10th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Francis Maui Noah.
I got it right.
Miami.
Francis Maui Noah.
I'm sure Costa's thrilled for you.
I got it right. That's 4, Josh. That's 4. His name came up a lot. I'm telling you right now, his name came up a lot randomly. And I was like, this doesn't feel like what they truly need. But at the same time, they do need offensive line. And is he, if I recall, because my brain is mush at the moment, he's the right tackle, like dominant right tackle in this draft, if I recall.
He's a dominant right tackle, but he's like
dominant
the only
right
true tackle.
Yeah, exactly. So like from there, I get it. But wow, with Caleb Downs on the board. You know what, Josh? I'm even gonna list this as right tackle.
Who I mean, I know Evan
Dolphins
Neal has
traded.
not been great, to say the least.
Dolphins trade pick 2 because my blackout thing blacks it out.
Dallas.
They're getting
This is Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs.
This is massive for the Malachi Lawrence people, because there's been a lot of speculation that Dallas is hot after Malachi Lawrence, and they're not trading up to 11 to do that. So if you're somebody that wants Malachi Lawrence as a third period starts to fall to the Bills at 26, this is a massive development here.
Wait. Dallas trade up 1 pick?
No, they just haven't updated their tracker yet.
Well, no, Dallas was the 12th pick. So they moved. Well, no, I guess they didn't move up 1 pick. They probably traded their other later pick.
Unless ESPN hasn't updated it yet. I'll go to Twitter.
I don't know, Josh. That to me smells like they traded the later pick.
That would be interesting. Maybe they traded George Pickens too.
Yeah.
No, here we go. Here's from Twitter. Dallas trades pick 12, 177, and 180 for pick 11. So the Dolphins pick up 177 and 180. That's
to move up a spot?
Unfortunately, when I logged into Twitter, I saw who they picked.
Okay. So it really was. They're picking at 12 then. Or sorry, Miami's picking at 12 then. Oh yeah, they just changed it on the TV. Okay. All right. I need to lock in, Josh. I need to lock in. My Lord. How are we losing that possession? Okay. Sheesh.
My phone is slightly ahead of the draft, apparently. I'm not going to look at it.
Is it really?
I just got to do. Maybe it's Dallas's trade up. As soon as they announce the pick, I'll take a look at it. Although I've already seen it on Twitter when I looked to see what the trade was. So I'll go ahead and see.
I will say, fun fact for anyone that cares about the Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres power play, which hasn't scored in the month of April, has now surpassed the 60-minute mark without a power play goal. That means they've played the entire length of a hockey game without scoring a power play goal in power play time. That is massively depressing.
Oh, hey, it's all right. We'll just beat them straight up. We don't need a man advantage. So I learned something about hockey the other day. And I used to be a really big hockey fan, but I had no idea this was a rule. I was listening to Shope and Bulldog, and they said that since the Sabres are the road team now, they lose the advantage of like
line changing,
announcing your line change. And I never thought about that, but that makes total sense. Like if you're sending out a line, somebody has to commit first.
Home team always gets last change. Yeah. So it's always if you watch a ref, or I think a linesman no, it's gotta be a ref. Ref goes over and you'll see him with like his hands up. what he's doing is, the road team sends out their line change or does whatever, and then from there allots the opportunity for the home team to get last change. So that's why home team, when you're at home, you can truly play a matchup game. Like I want my fourth line on this line. I want this on that. Yeah. That's always what it is. So it's interesting, but at the same time, this is, oh my God, that sucker shot. The Sabres strength should truly be that they're harder to match up because their depth scoring is much greater than a Bruins team, for instance, and most of the league for that matter. They've gotten a lot more points spread out in their lineup than your average team, especially one of that caliber, that it's like you become harder to match up with. But at the same time, the Bruins, I will also say this playoffs has the most broken sticks I've ever seen. But yeah, anyways. What were you? Sorry, you were going to ask something.
So I'm still kind of thinking about what the Giants did. But I was going to ask you, are you surprised at the way the league has been devaluing safety? I mean, we heard it leading up to the draft, and now we're seeing it proof in the pudding. Caleb Downs falling to at least pick 11, if not further. I guess I'm just surprised in such a matchup pass-heavy league that safeties are being devalued, and you see it in the free agent market too. These guys are just not getting obscene contracts.
I'm surprised that premier safeties. I would say it doesn't surprise me when you get into the second, third, fourth, fifth round, whatever, right? Because everyone's so much closer in comparison and things like that. That positional value will always trump in that regard. But when you have a guy like you would be hard pressed to find anyone in the league, in my opinion, especially based on what we've heard for a while now during this draft process, that believes Caleb Downs as a athlete in this draft is outside the top three. Like, everyone believes he's a top 3 athlete in this draft overall, and he is a dominant force, and he was the cog to the machine at Ohio State, even going back to his Alabama days. Like, he is a premier athlete, player, game breaker on the defensive side of the ball. But for people to still get caught up on the fact that his listed position, we'll call it, is safety, feels odd to me. It's like when you have a premier talent, I think positional value should partially go out the window. Like Jeremiah Love. Like Jeremiah Love is another great example because, oh my God. Let's go!
Go.
Holy shit, we took a lead and it's not less than 8 minutes left in the game. So
you don't have to keep talking. I know you're excited.
No,
Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas and Francis, I got to pronounce his name, Maragoa, should give them an excellent bookend at tackle. Now, they do have Jermaine Illuminaire, who, when he was with the Raiders, he was a guy that I wanted the Bills to sign. I think he's okay as a starter. I think as a third tackle, he's fantastic. But, the Giants did seemingly strike gold last year with Jackson Dart. And it's not surprising to me that a John Harbaugh team would prioritize the trenches. They always had good offensive lines in Baltimore. And it's just a fact. It's never exciting to take an offensive tackle, but next to quarterback, they're the most important position on offense, and right up there with pass rusher, the second or third most important position in the sport. So, maybe Illuminaire sticks at right tackle and move
the Dallas Cowboys select
hard.
Caleb Downs.
There it is, Caleb Downs. But this is the Giants saying we are not going to put ourselves in a situation where we are not protecting Jackson Dart. And, from that standpoint, I get it. I had texted or I had said something about, let me know about your thoughts on Mansour. X is good on cornerbacks as anybody I talk to. He says, checks all the boxes corner-wise. Sorry, had to give the kid a bath. Yeah, don't have to apologize. You got some parents on this show. And so it's all good. Hope the bath went well. Hopefully bedtime goes well and you can enjoy this draft. And hopefully the Panthers get you something exciting. Costa hates Dallas. We knew that, but now he has another reason to hate Dallas.
Look, during our mock draft, during our mock draft, I talked about two things when it comes to the Cowboys and then also Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is my favorite player in the draft. He's my number one prospect in the draft. If you eliminate position, of course, because back to your even question, like I think a guy like Caleb Downs who breaks a game so greatly that it's like, you have to almost not ignore that he's a safety, but he's so talented and special that you're now going to develop something and get the most out of him because he's that big of an impact player. And then on top of it, the way the board has fallen, Josh, it's not the same as we projected in our mock by any stretch of the imagination. But remember when we got to Dallas's second pick at pick 20, and we were like, if they ended up with this, I'm going to say Jerry did it again and he's winning the draft and stuff like that. I'm not going to get there because I think moving up a pick to get Caleb Downs when I'm not sure the Dolphins were truly going to be in Caleb Downs, but maybe they got an inkling that someone else was trying to move up there and they just wanted to secure it. Who knows? But they can, depending on how the board falls, I think with getting Caleb Downs outside the top 10, I respect a lot. Did you just get a spoiler or something?
Yup. Got to stay off the Twitter.
I was going to say, I purposely do not go on Twitter, but I did get a text of, and I will quote this. I don't think he's listening, although I sent him the link. He's like, I got a throbbing spoiler. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but holy hell.
If you're here, X, you got to hang out for the spoiler. That's all I'm going to say. To wrap up the Giants pick, they're listing him as a guard. Schefter already tweeted out the Giants' projected offensive line, and they're putting him at guard and Luminaire at right tackle. So, I mean, what a unit, because they also have Michael Schmitz, who was a good prospect a couple of years ago. So I get it. We've had the Bills have a great offensive line the last few years, and I think a lot of people have taken it for granted. And we've been all screaming about receiver. But when you have an offensive line that doesn't have to back down from anybody, you can do so much offensively, even with substandard wide receivers. The Giants do have Isaiah Likely. They do have Malik Neighbors coming back. They do have Cam Scatterbo, depending on this situation with his leg. And, Jackson Dart is an up-and-coming quarterback. So I think they're in a good position now to really get rolling offensively, and then they should be able to. I mean, the Giants could be fascinating if Jackson Dart takes a big step this year, because their defense, they should be able to get after the quarterback. So real quick on Dallas, they just had holes all over the defense, and this is a massive fill here. So good for them. They still need pass rush help, but luckily this draft is littered with pass rush help, and Ruben Bain is still out there. I would not be stunned if that's where the Dolphins went with this pick, but it does feel like the Dolphins need receiver help. You said you wouldn't be surprised if they still went receiver, even with Tyson off the board, right?
Yes. Yep. And
so who would that be for you? Lemon, or would that be Cooper?
No, Cooper. If I had to guess, it would be Cooper here. I will take a shot in the dark here and say they still go receiver. But based on reactions of people spoiling.
No. I can tell you right now, it doesn't have to do with the Dolphins.
Okay. All right.
Don't overthink this one.
Okay, cool. I would, if it doesn't have to do with the Dolphins.
I have no idea what the Dolphins are doing. So if they take somebody dumb, I just haven't seen it. I did see another pick.
Another pick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say Omar Cooper here. Mm-hmm. I will say,
here we go.
Good call. My bad.
Ruben Bain would be a good pick for them.
Yeah. The Miami Dolphins select Caden Proctor, tackle, Alabama.
Okay.
Wow. I'm shocked. I mean, they have so many needs. Don't get me wrong. Like, and Caden, there were, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah that said there were people that had Caden Proctor in their top 10. Mm-hmm. He was one of the more polarizing guys in it. But I mean, I would say he's a better value at pick 12 than Omar Cooper Jr.
Yeah. I mean, just like we said with the Giants, it's never sexy to take offensive line unless you're just getting like one of those rare air Orlando Pace, Jonathan Ogden types where you just know going in, this Joe Thomas, this guy is going to be elite for 10 years. But these guys are the lifeblood of your offense. And, this is a team that watched their franchise quarterback really, have to get sent on his way and pay a massive bill to watch him go because he couldn't stay healthy. And maybe some of that was because of some of the misses they had on the offensive line, with thinking of guys like Liam Eichenberg and guys like that. So, Caden Proctor is a good prospect for them. This is not a great draft. So if you want to fortify a position on your offensive line, I'm here for it. But now
is this where the fun starts?
The fun is about to begin.
Okay.
The fun is about to begin.
If the sneaky, crazy, random thing happens here by the Rams, I will be ecstatic. I
think you're gonna love this pick. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but
we're talking about the same thing. If I have any inkling, because I heard random things over the last 72 hours where I'm like, there is no chance the Rams really do that, right? Like at 13, there's no chance the Rams truly do that. But if they really are about to do that, and for people that understand, I don't have X up anywhere. I do this on purpose because I want to be living in the space. And then on top of it, I definitely am not going to be on X right now as I'm watching the Sabres just grind this game out right now, which is a beautiful sight. And Boston feels like they don't know what to do because they're trying to still play their boundary direct game, but they can't because they're also down a goal. Oh, geez. So yeah, it's just a crazy situation that I'm excited for this. If it is nuts, because based on the individual who also texted me the throbbing spoiler comment, he also knows where my heart lies in a couple different directions. And if it's related to that, I'll be so happy.
I think it's interesting. Peter Schrager, who is as good as anybody there is out there that's predicting the draft, but he and Colin Cowherd essentially like have a seat in the war room with the Rams. When they say stuff with the Rams, you just take it to the bank. He went out of his way on his podcast this week to talk about, no, the Rams are all in on this year. They're expecting their picks this year to be players that will help them win the championship this year. They see this window with Stafford, Devontae Adams. He was all about Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah.
And so that's where what potentially could be coming, it was either the insiders were playing us or they got played.
Oh my God, please. Just
not played like Diana Rossini.
Oh, Jesus.
I guess
Under the table shot there.
We could get into that since everybody else got into it.
No. I think we can leave it at
yeah, we can just leave that.
We can leave that one at the door. And Vrabel's got a busy offseason in front of him.
She named her kid Mike.
Unbelievable. And then like not to get into all of it, but like
let's just do it.
Internet warriors going on, and like big game today in Tennessee against the Colts, and it was exactly 9 months before her child was born, which then 2 months later was when they were seen at that New York City bar right before her wedding, of which then she fantasized about coaches being named Michael and the NFL. And
there's a Bill Simmons podcast clip that came up. I don't know how these people find it, but like she's talking to Bill Simmons, Mr. McChronicle. Always good to see you. Love having you hang out. And she's talking about Mike Vrabel's defense.
Yes.
And how he's going to shove the D down their throat.
Yeah.
And then they both did an awkward laugh like they knew something.
Yes.
You
see the RG3 one from 4 years ago, I think it was, where she was talking about, at some situation where inevitably had Mike come in and introduced to Mikey and, around the house and stuff like that. And RG3's like shit eating grin on his face, looking around like, are we doing this? And then Mike Green, like Greeny is like laughing. And it's like, this is not a good look. This is not a good look. And I will say, like, there's so many layers to this right now that it's blowing. Like, and on top of it, I will say this: of all people for it to be coach wise, for it to be Mike Vrabel as a Patriots head coach, I fully expect this to be water under the bridge in no time. Like, I don't think maybe some short-term repercussions could come to Mike Vrabel, but I don't expect anything long-term. Just the fact that he's a Patriot. If he was a Titan, he'd be fired today. But because he's a Patriot, not saying like this is even to the level of straight up cheating, but they do endorse cheating over there in New England. So where's this any different? It's just off the field rather than on it. Anyways, so yeah,
Cider. I don't even know her.
These women in media sports, man, gotta stop. Feel like this is what, number 3 in the past 5-6 years now. It's just had something of this variety. It's like, come on, you're giving hard fighting women a bad name.
That poor girl, Chrissy Ford, or I forget how to pronounce her name. Not Ford. It's like, but she worked for USA Today, and she came out against Diana Rossini, and she got fired for speaking out against it, because like, you're making this harder for all of us to get taken seriously in this field.
Yep.
And she got fired, and it's like, maybe she shouldn't have been fired for saying that.
Yeah.
All right. Sabres have 8 minutes and 33 seconds left.
Just took
the Rams have been on the clock for seemingly ever, even though the pick is in. The NFL could not wait to brag about how we got the picks down to 8 minutes, and they are just dragging these on because they want this to go the full 3 hours.
I think the NFL forgot that they still have so many commercial rights and things like that, that as someone that kicked off the show being like, I'm really happy that they're all the way down to 8 minutes. It's like, eventually you have to consider logistics of, you can't cut it down too much.
Yeah.
Like, eventually you do need to build in the timing for your hit pieces. You got to build in timing for commercials and sponsorships and things. Like, you got to build that stuff in. That's where maybe 10, Josh, what if they go back to 10 minutes next year because they realize they're like, oh shit, we need those 2-minute cushions.
And people will say, well, they go to 5 minutes in day 2, but day 2, they don't televise all the picks. There'll be a commercial. It'll be like a Heineke commercial. I'll say the Bills select Cody Ford or whatever. And it's, you just see it at the bottom.
I think the second round, they still televise all of them, but they generally they're quicker with a lot of their stuff. I know that. But then, in the third round is when they start rolling it. At least like the top 15 or so, they'll televise all of them.
The Sabres close this thing out in regulation. This will end right at the same time the Nuggets start, which is perfection. Mwah.
That perhaps can get them another Super Bowl championship. And here comes the commissioner, Roger Goodell.
I would enjoy that.
15th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama.
X, that's why I wanted you to hang out. I mean, I want you to hang out anyway, but specifically.
Yes. Couldn't be happier to get that wrong, Josh. Couldn't be happier.
So the Rams got all the credit in the world last year for trading a future one for the spot that became James Pierce. Mm-hmm. And they used that pick on Ty Simpson, who could end up being a fantastic quarterback. We don't know. He doesn't read like that. He doesn't look like that. But ultimately, for a Rams team that was within an eyelash of making it to the Super Bowl last year, instead of taking a player who can help get them over the hump, get Sam Darnold to the ground on the last play of the game, catch a pass from Matt Stafford, they're taking a quarterback who's going to sit there and collect dust on the sidelines. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't go with the narrative that McVay is going to leave as soon as Stafford's gone, so maybe that's a good thing for the Rams.
So I will say this, Josh. You could cut and paste exactly what you just said to the 2021 NFL draft concerning another team. It's everything you just said. I feel like we heard at every media outlet and stuff about the Green Bay Packers. You were eyelash away. You just needed one pass catcher finally, or one big edge player, things like that. And you go and not only but they also traded up to get theirs. But still they draft what turned out to be quarterback future. Now that's the Green Bay way. I will also add, I'm trying to be positive on this pick right now because I also think it's laughable. But I will also say, if you're Ty Simpson, you could not ask for a better situation.
Absolutely.
Like McVay, the Rams, everything about that. Like, you could not ask for a better situation to succeed. And I will now say, though, my shift, other than being 90% on the Sabres right now, I pray to God this is Kenyon Sadiq. I need this for so many reasons to be Kenyon Sadiq, Josh.
I think we might be having a Mekhi Lemon talk in about an hour with the Bills. Not my favorite prospect. but he didn't go to the Rams, and I think his slide could be very real. Also, Ty Simpson's mom. I'm old, so whatever. It's not even saying much to be like, hey, how's it going? Ty Simpson's mom. Forget these guys are half my age. Luka, when I start saying dumb stuff, you got to just interrupt me.
Oh no, you're good. It's the Southerns. It's the good old Southerns. You know, it's what it is. And Tage takes a penalty with 5.5 minutes left. This top tier penalty kill is going to have a big one in front of them after the break. Yeah.
You know, you kind of piece it together, though. There's been stories that Jimmy Garoppolo could retire. He was their backup quarterback last year. So perhaps they're looking at Ty Simpson as insurance for Stafford if he gets hurt this year. And then, then you're giving yourself somebody to come in and be the guy after Stafford.
Yeah.
And also, for what it's worth, like McVay is just one of those guys, kind of like Kyle Shanahan. I just don't question it. When it comes to offensive players, whatever, dude, you make it work. I trust you. So, Kyle Shanahan drafted Trey Lance and nobody cares because he turned Brock Purdy into a franchise quarterback.
That's a level of respect that's deserved, though, too, right?
100%.
Like you have enough of a track record, you have enough of tape and everything else in between to you get free license on making those decisions on that side of the ball because of that. It's absolute respect, and that's what I will say. Like, I feared for the life of me that Ty Simpson going to the Cardinals was going to happen because I'm like, when you stare in front of you and you look at, if you're the Cardinals, you have so many holes. Next season is going to be a wash. Like, color me shocked if Jacoby Brissett does anything worth a shit. But if Ty Simpson was there, it's like he's going to be like the 6th best quarterback in next year's draft potentially. You a lot of time, a lot of stuff can happen in between, but like. You don't do anything now to do that. Take your medicine, draft best players available, do the things you can to start developing and building stuff because you got the new guys in there. You got a new coach. You got new things going on. That's like project yourself to 27. If you're the Jets, if you're the Cardinals, that's what you're doing. That is what you're looking forward to. And but for the Rams, it's like, no, you get licensed to do that. I mean, this to them was kind of a bonus. Because what they just did is they drafted McDuffie at 30, I think. Yeah. I know it cost a little bit more, but McDuffie at 30. And then from there, now you just took potentially your quarterback of the future in a position that you don't expect to be in very often.
With the 14th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Olai Vivenga, Ioane, guard, Penn State.
Luke, I'll let you handle saying his name, but that's a good prospect we got there. The Ravens had some issues on their interior offensive line. They obviously lost Linderbaum to the Raiders in free agency. That won't solve the center position, but that will help on the interior. The Ravens have been beatable on the interior. The Bills, were unfortunately not able to really take advantage of that. And it makes sense. And, it makes you think that maybe they're just trying to squeeze everything they can out of Mark Andrews, Sabres, before he retires. Now that 1-year contract extension makes sense if they had an inkling that likely was going to test free agency and leave, which he did. And then, they obviously weren't in on Sadiq, which many of us predicted they would be. To roll it back with Ty Simpson, and X, if you're here, I'd love to hear your thoughts too, because you are a massive Alabama fan. One thing is Dan Orlovsky loves him. That's not nothing to me. I respect the hell out of Dan Orlovsky's opinion. It was almost controversial how much he loved him. It's not an arm talent thing with Simpson. He has the arm to make all of the throws. It's more of a processing thing. He doesn't see the play as fast as you would like somebody who's had his experience would see it. So could that be a function of playing in a Kalen DeBoer offense? Potentially, because Kalen DeBoer doesn't get high marks in that regard, particularly from my guy X. But now you talk about giving an arm talent to Sean McVay. Matt Miller's comp for him was Mac Jones. Again, a guy that went in the first round who had some success this past year under Kyle Shanahan when he finally got with a good offensive coordinator. I see the thought process. And again, I'm going to go back to what we talked about all draft prep time. This is a very underwhelming draft class.
Yeah.
So if you see a quarterback that you think even has a 20% chance of being your franchise quarterback of the future, and you're looking at receivers that you think, hey, these guys will maybe crack our top 3 if they're lucky, or you're looking at defensive linemen that aren't going to really make an impact, I get it. I think this is maybe the first of many weird things we're going to see in this draft because this is a very underwhelming draft class. The good news, folks, 365-ish days from now, we are going to have a draft class. So if your team is projected to be bad this year, enjoy it, because next April they're going to get a stud. Unless they're the Titans, because then they'll just take whoever.
Enjoy your shitty season, folks. You'll at least have hope next season of great times.
Story of our lives for 17 years. 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. 27 seconds left on this power play. This feels like the moment of the game.
Should say penalty kill because it is Boston on the power play. But yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
How do you like the way Lions played tonight?
I loved it. I think he's seeing the field. So the difference between Lion and UPL is they have very different. We're
not getting another penalty, are we?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so. No.
I thought I saw
they have very different styles in the sense of how they control their body and stuff. And UPL is a very a lot of movement to his game, which is not the modern day conventional way to be a goalie. It's all about tight movement. It's all about, tight controllability, being able to rebound control because you're moving little, right? You're not all over the place. You're not seeing your Dominic Hasek's anymore in the modern day game. UPL is not Dominic Hasek about it, but he's a little bit more active in the lower half. He likes to move around. He likes to very much commit to plays and things like that. And this season, it was working out a lot because he was figuring out the balance as to when to do it and when not to do it, a lot more than in the past. Whereas Lion, very much grounded, very much more in control of his movement, stuff like that. Like, you need to be able to pick corners on him and or create plays by puck movement to finally get him out of position to have a look at net. That's how it operates. It's a much more conventional way to attack a goalie in the modern day game. But I think with how Boston is and where they might lack a little bit of that speed, even though they can move the puck around and snap it around pretty quick in the offensive zone, UPL might have been finding himself in trouble a little bit and just overreading things on top of, just less experience, obviously just not having that playoff experience in moments, maybe potentially getting to him. I don't think UPL was, culprit number one as to the problem in games one when there was problems, and then game two when there was definitely problems. But I will say this, goal for the Sabres, especially before making the playoffs this season, you used to be able to fault that the blue line just was never capable of cleaning things up in front of them, and the blue line wasn't as dominant and or controlling as you would like them to be to keep a goalie comfortable. That is not the same this season. This season, the reason you have found more success for UPL and Lion and things like that is that from top to bottom, the blue line has been quality for the Sabres. They've been able to move around. They've understood their positioning. They aren't being overcommittal, and they know when they need to jump into play, but also sit back and or guard post in their defensive zone, when to crash corners, so on and so forth, right? They're not overplaying. They're not finding themselves overwhelmed with play. They are handing off play a lot better this season. And that's allowed UPL to just take more advantage at opportunities when they have been broken down a little bit. But I think in this series, what we've seen is UPL just might have been overseeing things, overcommitting to things, just maybe a little bit too jumpy when not needed. And overall, I think Lions play tonight has really steadied things a little bit more in the pipes where, it was frustrating to see Janot snipe him of all people near post because of a guy like Lion and his style. That's not what you're expecting to see beat him. Like, you would expect a near post shot like that to beat UPL more so than a Lion. But overall, I think he's been fantastic.
Would you start him in game 4, assuming they get this one to the garage?
My put it on record. My philosophy moving forward is, you're in until you lose, and you just swap every time, because that's essentially what you should have been doing leading into this. And I think that's a strong way to go if you're the Sabres moving forward. And on that note, I need to get audio.
With the 15th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Ruben Bain Jr.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Is that the best value pick so far?
Yeah, right up there. I mean, I think, yeah. Because I think you can make the argument he's as good as the Reese and the Baileys that went early in this draft. They're just concerns about his arm length. But man, when you see him get low to the ground, it's Von Miller-ish, where you just see and
off-field stuff. But yeah,
that's true too. But at this point in the draft, a team that couldn't stop a nosebleed last year to get Ruben Bain, that's a massive home run. But his teammate Messidor is falling. I mean, this is shaping up well for the Bills. From a Bills lens, Ty Simpson going here does push somebody down, but it probably does take that like massive trade back opportunity off the board. Like they can still probably trade back, but you're not going to, have dreams of getting a future one or whatever for somebody coming up to get a quarterback.
Right. Well, have you heard, this is something we haven't talked about in any of our draft prep, but I heard the conversation randomly being sparked the last 48 hours. Have you heard that Carson Beck, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Carson Beck, there might be a team or two in on Carson Beck. I'm like, this feels like media fodder and stretch.
Yeah.
But overall, just putting it into the space.
I watched enough Carson Beck at Georgia and then Miami to tell you I will, in fact, be surprised if he gets drafted tonight.
Come on. Yes!
Ball game.
Oh, it's not over. Whoa. 124 and 2-goal lead, Josh.
Oh, they say a 2-goal lead is the worst.
Most dangerous lead in hockey. Most dangerous lead in hockey.
I'll take my chances with
this. Is huge.
Do we know who White and Nerdy is, by the way? Is that somebody that's like a friend of yours, or is that just a guy hanging out there? Because I've seen him before, but I feel like, I mean, he hasn't been like rude or anything. What's that?
That's Nino.
It's Nino?
I know from the Rocky punching meat.
Okay. I was going to say.
Oh my God. And Noah Ostlund, of all people, getting that empty netter. First playoff game, Josh. Noah Ostlund.
Love it.
Oh.
All right. Just in time. Oh, well, shit. I'm going to stay with it until it ends, and then I'll flip on the Nuggets game.
Don't eat. Minute 20. Was it 123? 124.
The Nuggets are notorious slow starters, so I'm going to turn it on. They're going to be down like 20-4.
Slow starting. I know all about that.
Mm-hmm. They haven't taken a lead in any of these games yet, but all right. So will Boston still have the net pulled? Or
God, yeah, you pull, yes, 2-goal lead. I mean, shit, you might if the Sabres were to score another empty netter and there was still like over 50 seconds left, Boston could still pull the goalie. I would imagine.
I think
goal differential, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter.
I have a strategy Boston could use going forward that I think would really help them. They should actually choose to play with 4 people instead of 5.
Troll all.
Mm-hmm. 40 seconds left.
What a save. Oh my God. Unless that went high and wide, but oh my God. Big.
Just clear it out and you'll win.
There it is.
All right. This game is
Tyson Kozak.
They have no shot now. No shot, Luka. It's in the bag. Oh, he caught it. Caught the pop fly.
Yeah, and goes down for icing. 12.8 seconds left. I'm going to turn up.
If the Sabres lose this game, it's a worse choke job than the Music City Miracle in 13 seconds combined.
I would say we're at 99.9 infinite.
Yeah, they're so good that I am actually going to.
Send it, Sammy.
That's Sammy. What's up, Sammy?
Yeah, I don't know why StreamYard does this where now you just see the actual usernames. I think that's because that's probably their fix for Twitter or X allowing comments now, because that used to not come through and then you would just see the YouTube usernames. That's what.
Please keep your voice down. The baby is sleeping.
Oh, trust me. I understand, but
amazing.
There's important things. It's important things. Oh, okay. Gotta listen to Roger.
With the 16th pick,
maybe Makai Lemon. They got to get a weapon.
NFL draft. The New York Jets select Kenyon Sadiq.
Ooh, okay.
Tight end, Oregon.
I mean, if I were a Jets fan, I'd be happy they didn't reach for a receiver that was underwhelming and they went with someone like Sadiq. With Makai Lemon now falling to at least 17, 18, the idea that KC Conception, real quick, the Omar Cooper stuff was a lie.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, we had him to the Jets as like the least kept secret in the sport. So now, if you want KC Conception to fall to the Bills, then maybe things are Looking good. Luka won't even care. Like the Bills could just draft me and he'd be like, good. Excellent.
Fantastic. Someone just texted me that I work with that I'm friendly with. He goes, man, this goalie's pretty good. Nice win.
Tell him you ain't lying.
Boom. You ain't.
Look at us. We're finishing each other's sentences already. Don't be jealous, Sammy. It's all professional here.
We got a cooler, Josh, because I don't have a fridge in my office. I had to keep the beer ice cold,
There you go.
We were ready. Oh, baby. What a win. Home ice back to us, baby.
All right. To Prime we go.
Let's fucking go, dude. Let's fucking go.
Now we need the Nuggets to hold serve, as I'm the only person listening or talking that cares about that whatsoever. Congratulations, Sabres fans. The Sabres go up 2-1. Game 4 is Saturday?
Yes, game 4. No, Sunday. We have the 2-day off. They kind of randomize mid-series for everyone when they would have a 2-day off stretch.
The same person that told you to keep your voice down and referred to you in your first name is also giving you grief about not having a mini fridge in your office. I don't know who they are, but I like them.
I don't know who they are either.
Well, I'm pretty sure you know who they are, but they're just not divulging themselves to you.
Yeah.
Rhino World 7.
Yeah, I should get I've thought about it. Trust me, I have like a small wine fridge. I've thought about putting up in here because you can just use it as a cooler anyways, stuff like that. But
then those afternoon Friday meetings on Zoom, you're just like, hey, everybody, where the party at?
Let the head move down. The one thing that's a problem about these beer Sabres, you pour a beer in there and it's just like so much head. It's like, God.
Oh, don't make a head joke. Don't make a head joke. No, sorry, talking out loud.
Diana Rossini in here. Don't have to worry about it.
You gotta love the fact that the NBA game was supposed to start at 9:30 and they legitimately are just now starting. The NFL drafts that commercial. Sabres won. Nuggets and T-Wolves are still in pregame warm-up. It's a perfect time for me to go empty the bladder and us to fully lock in on what the Bills are going to be doing because they are around the corner. We're within 10 picks of the Bills.
Oh, God. Hopefully, you know what? I'm going to check on the baby monitor. We got to do that, Hopefully my little one is she's out. She's doing great. She is doing fantastic because she's a warrior. She's the GOAT. She's the greatest baby of all time. I know everyone says that about their babies, and that's perfectly fine. But Chronicle, that's a good question. It depends on, so moving your 2 for DJ Moore complicates it because you're probably going to have to get involved with a future 2 depending on how far you're inevitably trying to move up. But at the same time, it's one of those things where because it's a bit of we'll call it a lesser draft, maybe the conventional score or, metric used to evaluate a trade doesn't necessarily apply this year. And maybe you could get away with a little bit more of bargain shopping trade ups. You don't know. Realistically, do I expect that? No. So not having your 2, you're really probably only going to be able to move up 1, 2, maybe 3 spots, depending on what you're willing to separate from. And I will say this, when I mentioned the future picks, 2027 picks right now are viewed as crown jewels. Teams are really not wanting to move those 2027 picks because of projections right now of it being a true top tier deep draft class that you could see legitimate back end ones going mid-second as it stands right now. A lot of time, a lot of things can change, of course, as I will always say, but it's kind of one of those things that you could see it, especially if, let's say, Cooper Jr. is still falling, Casey Conception's still there. There's multiple assets, but yet they're getting itchy for one of them. And Terry, the Pagulas aren't in the room. That Bean just says, screw it, pull it. But no, we'll have to see on that one. I would say right now the Bills are in no position that they probably even feel like they need to trade because the board probably has tons of individuals that they are very much willing to take at 26, and you're only 10 picks away now.
Luka, you had the Lions in our mock draft exercise. What were their primary needs as you researched them?
Offensive line. They were big offensive line. And what I find interesting is they did like the Georgia tackle. I want to say his first name was Mason. And I'm blanking right now. I'm just on cloud 20. They were big
Monroe
on
Freeling.
Yeah, Monroe. There you go. I got the M right. All right.
There you go. And
but I know they were big into him. I ultimately had them taking the Penn State guard, but of course he's off the board now. So maybe they do go with Freeling here. But everything I researched going into this really pointed to the direction of offensive line help, and they want to get meaner and bigger again up there. So I would expect Freeling here.
Help grant an unforgettable wish.
There's also that A&M guard, Bissonitis or whatever his name is. He's gotten some late steam, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I just talked over the Make-A-Wish kid. I'm an idiot.
At least, Josh, just to make you feel better, it does mumble a little bit because of how the audio comes out. That no one could make it out. Get it?
Wish come true. Take it away, Easton.
So hard to drink out of these things.
With the
I thought that was a
17th
bong
pick
at first.
in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Blake Miller, tackle, Clemson.
Okay. Position is correct, but Blake Miller is interesting.
Blake Miller is very. This is where we warned you all, like this draft could just get weird.
Yeah.
Blake Miller.
I don't think I could chug this.
I don't even have him listed.
I can't chug this because I'm going to make a mess in my office, Josh, and I don't think it's worth me spilling beer in my office. Damn it. Should have taken this outside.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I see. Rounds. Lions go tackle Blake Miller. ESPN had him rated as the 52nd overall player, but again, like this draft is a crapshoot.
I'm getting texts to tell me to fucking chug this thing, but it's like I've already spilled twice. This is just brutal to chug, and I'm in my house. I want to though.
Don't let me stop you.
I know. Got to get creative with this thing. I will say, fun fact. Fun fact, when they served these in December, they poured a full beer in them and everything was great and fine and dandy. That experience was incredible. When then they re-released them for that Tampa game late in the season and they just handed you a can of beer, disappointing. It's like you got to still try to serve it out of the tap to people. I know it would have been an absolute logistical nightmare, but you got to do it. Just for the experience. And I feel bad for those individuals who didn't get to make it to the Chicago game when they originally released that, then got that. And you got better beer for what it's worth in it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'm watching the Nuggets game. I gotta really start locking into this draft here because I feel like I'm just watching sports that aren't football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vikings select Caleb Banks, defensive end, Florida.
Yeah,
wow.
This is where we're about to get weird, Josh.
Well, Luka, what that does for me is now Dylan Thieneman.
Oh, he's in play.
He's in play for the Bills. Now, I think the Panthers could easily go Thieneman. I think the Cowboys could easily go Thieneman because they have a pick coming up again. But now we're looking at a situation where I think the board is falling fantastic for the Bills if what I view as the players they like are accurate.
Thieneman is absolutely in play. The edges we talked about and ended up taking in our mock are in play. Cooper Jr. still being here is someone that's noteworthy. I don't know if necessarily that's still like maybe they would take Casey Conception regardless because there is a love affair there. But the board is continuing to fall in a manner that is it weird to say that because there's just you got a plethora of options you would move back?
Plethora.
I guess that would, yeah. Like, does that make sense? Like, still try to get maybe another pick, but also just utilize the opportunity that you still feel like inevitably you'll get one of your 5 guys or whatever it is.
I think so. It really just depends how they have them graded. Like, I would just, and we'll never know this, but Malachi Lawrence to me just checks so many boxes of what this team needs. If you like Casey Concepcion on that level, then he also checks all those boxes, so I wouldn't fool around with it. Kind of like the reverse the reverse of what the Chiefs did, where they parted with the 3 and a 5, but they locked in the guy they wanted. The Bills are a team like that, where if you feel like a Malachi Lawrence or a Casey Concepcion is the difference between your team being ready to go out there and compete for a championship and still maybe being a piece away, then I wouldn't trade back. But I think there's a chance. How much? You're a betting man. I wonder what kind of odds you could have gotten on Caleb Banks being the number 1 defensive tackle off the board.
Plus 20, plus 5,000.
Not Caden McDonald, not Peter Woods, not Christian Miller, Caleb Banks.
Yeah, that is. There was something that happened in an interview that they just were obviously they fell in love with. That something happened during the draft process that they just were starstruck with this individual. Like, that's the only thing I can imagine.
That brings me, I wanted to ask you this on our draft prep shows, but we just kind of ran out of time because they always went long. There's a new age way of thinking about the draft that the Rams are into, the Jaguars are into, where they don't do top 30 visits and they don't want to essentially get face to face with these prospects. And the thought process is you can get fooled by an interview. You can get somebody in a room and they can BS you. Whereas if you just let the tape speak for itself, and then like your conversations with coaches and teammates and what kind of player this guy is, you'll get a better idea of who this player is. Now, the Jaguars are still very young in their build under James Gladstone, but even though the Rams took Ty Simpson and we got a chuckle out of that tonight, there is no team in the sport that has drafted more consistently the last few years with less premium picks than the Rams. Do you think that is a good way of approaching it? Do you think that's maybe a way that the rest of the league will start to copy if the Rams continue to have success?
Yes. I think there's not yet full-on copycats of it, but I think they've at least done it enough to a level of success that people entertain the idea of it regularly. And I think what's been an interesting movement to me on this topic in general is first round picks are always viewed as gold, like just absolute gold. You don't want to separate with them. You value them higher than life itself. It's like, this is everything. And I feel like you've heard it from the McAfees, former players in general, former, even like now retired coaches and GMs, where they go, why would I want to bring in this guy top 16 and hope that he can make an impact when I can use it to move for a known commodity that I know will make the impact I need to win now? If you're 1-2 pieces away, why would I do such a thing? And I will say that's a very refreshing way to do it in relation to, or on contrary to, how it had been, where it's like, hey, first round picks, you got to sell the farm to get them. You got to do everything. What do you got your hands up? I'm curious what that's all about.
I mean, I thought Dallas was on the clock.
Oh, no. Yeah, it says Carolina pick is in on stage, so you're good there. There's a big Panther on the. I'm with you. But overall, I do think that people not necessarily devaluing first, but I don't think people have as big of a grip hold on their first round picks as it used to be, let's say 5-10 years ago. I think people understand that it's truly just a trade piece and an asset a little bit more than it was.
26 NFL draft.
The
Carolina Panthers select Monroe Freeling, tackle.
All right, so massive help for Bryce Young. This feels like fantastic value getting Monroe Freeling here based on, the research we did.
Wait. Eagles acquire pick number 20, Josh. The Cowboys and Eagles traded with each other? First and foremost. Weird. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Where were the Eagles coming from?
23.
Okay. So if you believe, we were talking about Rossini and Vrabel earlier, but like the football aspect of that is people are mad that she has the A.J. Brown scoop and that it's just a foregone conclusion that the Eagles are going to trade A.J. Brown to the Patriots after June 1st, which has many insiders speculating that the Eagles could be targeting a wide receiver. The guy that's been going to them in mock drafts is Denzel Boston. You look at body type, he's more of like a 1-for-1 for AJ Brown. But in most mock drafts, you didn't have Mekhi Lemon falling this far, or Casey Concepcion or Omar Cooper might even be a 1-for-1 for AJ Brown. Do you think it's one of these receivers here?
Yes.
Do you have a receiver here that makes the most sense?
I think it's Denzel Boston. I would think so too,
but I can't imagine trading up for him. But
the only reason I think that is because Pittsburgh's a legitimate threat for a receiver.
True.
I think Pittsburgh's absolutely a legitimate threat for a receiver, and they just want to ensure they get their guy. And then 2, low key, the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are a wild card because it's Harbaugh, and you don't know what he's going to end up going with. But ultimately, I think they wanted to ensure they still get their guy. And I believe we will get this pick right from our draft show, because this has to be Denzel Boston, in my opinion.
With the 20th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Mekhi Lemon.
Nope.
Wide receiver, USC.
So that's interesting.
Nope.
The Eagles, they have Devonta Smith. I think Mekhi Lemon is an exclusive slot player, which means Devonta Smith is going to play outside. And then, as far as their third receiver, what's up?
I got Monroe Freeling correct. Spot on. Perfect.
Good job.
Hell yeah. I was like, I'm confident I said Monroe Freeling to the Panthers, and sure as shit. Sorry.
I mean, this feels like we didn't love this player as much as the consensus did. But this feels like, at least consensus-wise, fantastic value for the Eagles.
Yes. Yeah, I would say this is one, Josh, for us personally. We have to take our bias away from this. If you look at it from a strict value play, it makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. If you're Philadelphia, they could have still loved Denzel Boston. But like, they saw Mekhi Lemon fall, and they on their board probably had him, let's say top 12 or top 13 because of the Rams. And we're just like, I mean, at what point is this getting ridiculous? At what point? And we know, what's his name? Lowry. Is it Jeff Lowry? He is an aggressive individual. He loves to go out there and get his guys. This is a not Georgia player, for anyone that likes to meme that they only take Georgia guys in the first round. This is though someone that they clearly probably just looked at and said, hey, we love Denzel Boston. We hope Denzel Boston has a great career, but this is just pure value. And I respect that. I appreciate it. And I think that it absolutely makes a lot of sense to them. Did we get the compensation? I'm sure it was on the screen, but I didn't catch it.
Let me go to Twitter and see if I can find it without spoiling the last pick here. I'm just going to close my eyes and scroll down and see if I can find it. Okay. Panthers select Monroe Freeling. The Eagles are okay. So Twitter's even okay. So the Cowboys get 23, 114, and 137.
You said 20 and a 7th. You said 114 and 137.
114 and 137. So that's a 4th and a 5th for that's moving up 3 spots, and they get a 7th back.
Okay, so the Bills trading up is absolutely in play if they have a guy they love.
Yeah, and I just tweeted out from our podcast account. Bad on me not tweeting out all night, because I could, it's easy clicks, but I feel like the lemon drop is like a potential starting boulder of the wide receiver run, where we saw Tyson and Tate go early, and now Lemon is like that next tier. And if you want a Cooper or a Concepcion or a Boston, you have Luka just mentioned it. You have Pittsburgh, who could use a receiver. The Chargers could use a receiver. The Cowboys, if the Pickens things goes left, could use a receiver. If you're the Bills and you are prioritizing receiver, which think about that however you may, maybe you have to go up a little bit, especially if you love a player like Casey Concepcion. I would say at this point, if we see the Bills trade up, it's for Casey Concepcion. Also, something else to keep in mind. Dallas is rumored to be loving Malachi Lawrence. If they come out of this draft with Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence at 23, just a wonderful draft day haul for them. Now, who knows how it'll turn out on the field, but good start for them to this draft process. All right, Steelers pick is in. Did you see something?
No, Josh, for anyone to understand, my brain is still mush. This is the greatest night of my life. I know. I don't mean
I
that.
haven't had a really good life.
I do have a daughter, by the way, and that she wasn't born today. So
I
let's
have
just go ahead
wife that I worship and a daughter that I love more than life itself.
The Sabres won Game 3 of a round 1 playoff matchup, so fuck them.
No. But my brain is mush at the moment.
I hear you. This is like a great sports night, though. I mean, so much going on.
This is fantastic. I'm not a big Chopin the Bulldog person, full transparency. But I love the conversation that they had for once where it's like, hey, two amazing things together. It's very topical and stuff. But in all honesty, what are you going to be paying attention to more? What is going to draw your interest more? And it was like, no joke. It's like, look, love the NFL draft. It's a great spectacle. We love it every year when it comes. But are we fucking kidding?
Can we let's talk about that for a second. We've been screaming for years for the Bills to take a receiver in round 1. The year they finally do it and get a guy that the entire fan base seemingly loved, KC Concepcion, and it's not even like mentioned in the first hour of Buffalo Sports Talk Radio the next day. That would be so fitting.
I think, you know what, Josh, it would be back half hour. It'd be like hour or the 35-minute mark. They're like, all right, and by the way, Bills picked 24 because they moved up 2 spots. They ended up with wide receiver KC Concepcion. And it's like, yeah, this is fun. This is exciting. Josh gets a first-round premier talent at wide receiver under a 5th-year option control if they desire, this and that. And it's like, yeah, this is great. Alex Lyon, though, looked fantastic last night. Which, look, anyone that's out there that's Bills only, and I respect it because those people exist. And I also heard comments that were like, there's NHL guys that are like, it's a hockey town, and if they're both at their peak, stuff like that. I don't subscribe to that. It's Bills first. I'm not.
Sports fans are sports fans. You don't have to choose. The biggest fallacy in all of sports is that you have to love one team more than the other. You can love both. And tonight, if you love the Bills and the Sabres, I believe your heart should be with the Sabres. I am not as big of a hockey fan as Luka, so I'm on the draft. But the game ended. The Bills haven't picked. It's perfect. But don't feel bad if you were more obsessed with the Sabres game. It doesn't make you less of a Bills fan. And don't let John's 3 numbers and 29 letters on Twitter tell you otherwise. It's okay to like 2 teams.
Exactly. It's one of those. I love the point of fallacy that it's like you have to put one above the top because everyone always asks you, what would you prefer a championship the most in? It's like, I mean, if you're literally gun to my head and stuff, I'd probably personally take a cup, but you're cutting garlic with a razor right now, trying to pick between the two. Like, are you kidding me? Of course.
I would, if I were like you, where both teams are just like right there, I would choose Super Bowl because to me, that's like a bigger deal globally.
Yeah.
Like the casual sports fan can always tell you who won the last Super Bowl. The casual sports fan sometimes has to think like, who won the last Stanley? Especially if it's like the Florida Panthers, a team that just doesn't rate outside of hockey fandom.
Yeah, and I had a similar conversation with a friend, and obviously I got to cut in audio soon. I had a similar conversation with a friend. I was like, I think it's by sports fans respected a little, like a teeter more, that it's harder work, not necessarily that it's harder to win a Stanley Cup than a Super Bowl, but also at the same time, it's one of those things where just growing up in the culture that I was, it's like the Stanley Cup is the premier trophy to me, regardless how I view the Super Bowl. It's not me discrediting either or. It's just the bottom line is, for whatever reason, the way I was raised and biased, it's like the Stanley Cup is mine. But it's not like I'm going to sit here and anyone that says Super Bowl would call them ridiculous, because it's like, no, they're absolutely.
26 NFL draft.
Cut off.
Pittsburgh Steelers select Max Ihanature, tackle, Arizona.
Forks up. Forks up. Hell yeah.
Let me see here. We have had.
Hey, they got an athletic dog at tackle. Let me just put that out there. Guy didn't play a lot of football, but I will tell you right now, as soon as he went on campus at ASU, he's a dog. He is a fucking junkyard dog at tackle.
That was the 21st pick in the draft. We've had 7 offensive linemen taken.
Yeah.
This league is telling you everything you need to know about the importance of offensive line.
Fun fact, Josh, the betting line was over under 7.5 for offensive linemen.
Well, you'll get over.
I don't know. There's not, looking at the board, it's so you're really only looking at Caleb Lomu, the other tackle out of Utah, Pregnon, out of the guard out of Oregon, yeah, I mean, those are your only two guys, and those guys are borderline. So this is interesting. This is interesting. Just for anyone that bets out there. Who pays attention to betting lines? That's ridiculous. Silliness. Or what do they call them? What's Kalshi and Polymarket? What is that technically called? I can't think of it right now. Whatever those non-gambling sites are. Whatever there was also six. So what do they call those though? I forget what it is. The way they dance around the gambling term and things. It's hilarious to me. It's classic like mid-20s people that developed them. They're like, oh, we're not gambling. We like to influence the society and how things are being measured and understood in the public. It's like, yeah, I get it. But now you're also allowing people to profit off it, which is, look, money's money, man. I don't care. But that's funny. ASU, 2 first rounders, Josh. As an ASU alum, proud day. We're moving up. And someone recently invested a good chunk of money on that football program. So that's cool.
Most exciting thing to happen to you today.
Yeah. Also,
prediction markets.
Prediction market. Thank you. Ahmad, you mentioned Kalen DeBoer for X, and I think was it today or yesterday that they announced he signed a 7-year extension with Alabama. It's like, holy shit. You're crazy. If you want to talk about something that the fan base did not want, welcome.
Okay, so the Chargers and certainly the Browns are receiver teams, 100%.
Yeah.
So if we can get past the Chargers without a receiver coming off the board, Dallas feels like defense again. Maybe not even at all receiver unless Pickens is worse than we think. I think we're good for a couple picks. And that's if the Bills even are prioritizing receiver after investing a 2 in DJ Moore. What is Reese Davis doing? He's
eating out. Oh, is that a Permani sandwich? That looks like a Permani sandwich.
There's no way he's going to put that.
Come on now.
How many more picks? I need 2.
Hey, we flying, bro.
Yeah.
We're also playing Mr. Brightside in the backdrop. Just
Am I still wanting KC if Thienemann's on the board? I'd rather have the receiver than the safety. I like the player Thienemann better, but I'm still personally leaning edge rusher Malachi Lawrence, or I know we talked about it a little bit before the draft.
Yeah,
but I would also take the defensive tackle.
Select Akeem Mesidor, linebacker, Miami.
Edge rusher.
I think that's great. Personally. I like the player, stuff like that. It's just interesting at his age, but we talked about that in our draft show. I think that's a great pick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. So I'm trying to get a list up here. So we have Cowboys, Browns, Bears, Bills. Of that list, unless somebody trades up, which can always happen, the only team there that would take a receiver would be the Browns. Definitely not the Bears.
Yeah.
And definitely not the Cowboys. So if KC Conception makes it past the Browns, the Concepcion makes it past the Browns, then the Bills will be in business. And there's reason to think that the Cowboys here want Malachi Lawrence.
I think Malachi Lawrence is absolutely in play for the Bills. I will say, like, I buy what you hear the respected insiders saying all the time when it comes to he was flying up and he's got all the tools. And then I respected, who was it? Chris Long. Chris Long broke it down and he goes, he's probably my favorite edge in the draft. That isn't, David Bailey or Ruben Bain. He's like, I love everything. He said he probably has the most tools even out of David Bailey and Bain. So you take that for what it's worth, and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where when you have a guy who comes from football lineage, who also had a very, very outstanding career at that exact position, saying that he likes a lot of his game and he values his place in the media space right now. So he's not just trying to throw mud at the wall and hope it sticks.
Right.
Like, that to me speaks volumes to the player, where I saw that after we even did our mock. And I was like, to be quite honest, hearing that might have tipped the scale enough to me, Josh, where I would have even during our mock draft agreed with you and said, hey, let's go in on this together. Like, and I love Cassius Howell, but yeah.
The thing I heard that really sold me on Malachi Lawrence was Chris Sims, who said, as just a pure pass rusher, he's up there with the elite guys. The part of his game that's not there yet is as a run defender. But to me, okay. Like, when's the last time the Bills have had a pure edge threat? A guy that can just come in and take over a game as a pass rusher. You can develop the run stopping skills, or if at very worst, you're a third down specialist. Robert Mathis made a career out of being a third down specialist. The Bills need juice in the pass rush game. Malachi Lawrence, Casey Concepcion are my two favorite ideas right now that I think are realistic. And then Caden McDonald is something I could also get on board with. Those are the three guys I think I would really narrow it down to at this point. I have a feeling about Casey Concepcion, if he's available, that the Bills might love him. But if Malachi Lawrence makes it past Dallas, I mean, he could go to Chicago too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd love to have both available when the Bills pick, just to see who they like more.
I just find it fascinating how the board is broken down. And I'm like, there are, doing the math in my head, there are four guys that I can walk away from this draft right now and be very happy with. And you're sitting here now and there's only 3 more picks to be made before you. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm in a headspace where I'm very much okay with where they're sitting. I think they believe they're in a great spot. And I will say this, I think I'm still on team trade back, but also I can understand if they're not going to anymore. And then they're just going to take, whoever's best on their board as a first round grade.
Angela May, we appreciate you tuning in, and we get it. We are watching the Sabres as well. Big win by the Sabres. The Pats coach situation, we talked about it a little bit. It's a terrible look for the reporter, Diana Rossini, just because, and I know there's a lot of thought out there like, oh, she gets the brunt of it because she's a woman. I would disagree with that. I think she gets the brunt of it because her job is to report things neutrally and to do things, you would think with some sort of honor, and the way that she was apparently going about getting inside information with Mike Vrabel is not on the up and up, but it does feel like Mike Vrabel is skated by here without much criticism at all, which is strange. Him skipping day 3 of the draft to attend therapy was so performative, in my opinion. It was absolutely just a way to make it look like he was prioritizing this. When he's a multi-millionaire celebrity in Boston, like he can get therapy any other day of the week, but to do it on Saturday, day 3 of the draft, is just for the headlines, in my opinion. It's an ugly situation. You feel bad for the families on both sides that were impacted if they didn't know about this. And, I don't expect much to happen with Vrabel. He was the coach of the year. He got the team to the Super Bowl. He's highly thought of. Unfortunately, these things tend to get swept under the rug. Time does heal the wounds. And I would be surprised, Luka, if Diana Rossini ever works covering the NFL again.
No, she's going to get the Nichols treatment. Not to bring up that whole situation, but seems like it's a similar vein of kind of situation.
All right, here's a big one. This could be Malachi Lawrence. If this is not Malachi Lawrence, then the Bills are getting everything falling to their lap.
This could also be German McCoy here. Just as White
that was in our draft, by the way.
Yeah,
our mock draft.
Yes, it was. This was the spot we mocked. So we will tune in here because this is big for that.
3rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Malachi Lawrence, defensive end, University of Central Florida.
That does hurt. But if you're a German McCoy fan, you're ecstatic. So I'm only saying that for a couple people that could be potentially interested in that.
The Bills, for what it's worth, Cleveland's on the clock. If Malachi, what's up?
Sorry, I was I was putting my finger up for Stokes accidentally.
Oh, Stokes is here. What's up, Stokes? So Malachi Lawrence just goes. If Casey Concepcion, there you go for you, Stokes, goes next, this would feel like the year that receivers all fell, and then JSN, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison go back to back to back right before the Bills pick. You and I haven't been as high on Casey Concepcion, but Malachi Lawrence and Casey Concepcion have been the two most popular names among Bills fans as mock draft season has gotten, toward the end. And it feels like if this pick by the Browns is Casey Concepcion, it would be a lot of heartbreak in Buffalo for those fans that aren't still riding the high of the Sabres. Stokes, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about y'all?
Well, it depends who you're talking to. Luka's doing fantastic because the Sabres won it and the Bills could draft a punter and he'd be fine. I'm doing okay because, I'm glad the Sabres won. The draft, the Bills are a good enough team that really what they do tonight is not going to move my needle too much on their outlook for the season. I'd love to see certain players. But then again, the Nuggets are, again, struggling to solve this Timberwolves defense that nobody cares about but me right now, and maybe you a little bit. And so that is kind of spoiling my evening a little bit. But how are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, the Knicks lost, so that's unfortunate. But yeah.
But the Sabres, guys, the Sabres. Come on.
There you go.
The Sabres. 2-1 in the series with 2 days off now. Not a big deal. Everything's good. Everything's great. No one's going to jump off a bridge tomorrow, which is fantastic news. I know we were big on Malachi Lawrence, Josh. I will say, it made a lot of sense for Dallas taking an edge, and it's just one of those ones where you're hoping they would go Falk or whatever, but it is what it is. And I would say, I would imagine Stokes feels the same way. You still like where the board is overall, that you'll be happy most likely with the outcome in a couple picks.
Yes, I definitely, I'm feeling good about, most of the options. I don't think they're going to do something that would be downright crazy. You can even see a situation where they may trade down. It's what Bean likes to do in situations where there are multiple people that we like. But so I could see that happening.
Yeah. Before you were on, Stokes, I even mentioned it. I was like, the way the board is breaking down, it's just one of those situations where it's like, well, shit, we got 4 or 5 guys we still like that are on the board. Hell, you start calling Houston or Kansas City, God forbid, Miami. And you go, hey, do you want to move up? What would it take? Things like that. We're open to hearing out what people are willing to offer, stuff like that. Because realistically, if let's say you still have 5 on your board and you're sitting there at 26, you could move all the way back in theory to Miami at 30 and guarantee you're going to have a guy New England at 31. But I have a sneaky suspicion that New England's going to try to get out of the first round so they don't have to have a follow-up presser. But we don't have to have further discussion on that topic yet again. But it's one of those things where I like the idea of trading back, but at the same time, at this point, the board is broken down in such a way you're not scraping and hoping that it's just one guy that's still there. It's you could be seriously sitting here, Thieneman, Casey Concepcion, Cassius Howell, all these individuals that
Caden McDonald.
Sure.
I'm telling you, I'm crushing on him after I heard what Sim said.
Josh, you can't sell me on it. You can't.
I don't need to sell you on it. I need the Bills to be sold on.
I know, not tonight. I will sit here and watch Caden McDonald tape during the draft tomorrow night to try to get my head around it for you and everyone else. But tonight, reactionary, I'll still be through the moon and unable to sleep tonight, but it won't be for negative reasons. But yeah,
All right. Let's say this next pick is Casey Concepcion. Yeah. Does that kill receiver, or are we just on to the next name, Boston, Cooper, whoever? Stokes, you haven't been on tonight. Where are you at with these receivers?
I'm not a gigantic fan of Omar Cooper. I'm probably more a Boston guy than I am a Cooper guy. Same. So that would be where I would land on it. But when you think about Omar Cooper, you think about the catch he made, when Indiana came back and won that game. So that's, think about the special catch, sure. But I think if you're wanting a consistent receiver, I would want Boston more than Cooper. But Concepcion would be the guy that I prefer of the 3. So if it has to be that way, then yeah.
I think it's not in play anymore, personally, Josh. If Concepcion's gone, I think at 26 or even in the first. I agree. Yeah, if in the first in general, I don't think it's there unless let's say they traded back. Oh, hold on.
2026 NFL Draft. the Cleveland Browns select Casey Concepcion, wide receiver, Texas A&M.
So I say it's not in play for what I believe the Bills think. Luka and I were talking about this before. I don't think that the Bills came into this draft saying we have to address receiver early. I think there was a crush on Casey Concepcion. Now, who knows if that's right? Who knows what to believe? If you believe the reports, the Jets loved Omar Cooper, they passed on him twice. If you believe the reports, the Rams loved Mekhi Lemon, they didn't take Mekhi Lemon, they took a quarterback. So who knows what to believe? The Bills could be all about Denzel Boston or Omar Cooper Jr. or, Brazil from Tennessee. Who knows? But I tend to believe that they're going to look at this defense that's transitioning to a 3-4. And I'll kind of tell you what I told Luka on the pregame show. Like, if you are okay with Caden McDonald at pick 26, it means that you believe he can be more than just a space-eating run stuffer, because you don't invest in 2026 a premium asset in a space-eating one-dimensional run stuffer. It means that you think he can impact all 3 downs. He can push the pocket in the passing game. I tend to believe the skill set, the athleticism, the physicality is there to develop into essentially a 5-tool, to borrow a baseball term, defensive lineman that can then allow Deion Walker to kick outside, that can free up Ed Oliver and TJ Sanders to just be pass rushers. And I think that makes the rest of the D-line make sense. If you don't believe that, which it sounds like Luka doesn't, then it is spending a premium asset on a very specialized player that's going to play 25% of the snaps that you can probably get on day 2 or day 3, or you could just go out on Saturday and sign DJ Reader off the street and probably have that whole field. Where do you come in on him in particular, Caden McDonald, but the idea of a defensive tackle here, nose tackle?
Yeah, I think that it would have to be like a game-breaking nose tackle, like a Vita Vea, like a Holdinata. That's the guy you take in the first round if you're trying to go nose tackle. Those are the types of guys, and I don't think I see that kind of guy when I look at Caden McDonald. Now, sure, he could be that, but that's not something that I see. And if that's what they're hoping for, they're definitely reaching for the stars, but I wouldn't want to use a first round pick on a guy that if he's only going to be a 2-down guy. I know that the money's made on 3rd downs when we're doing to defend the pass. So I think that it would be a mismanagement, a small mismanagement of resources if that was the route went at 26.
Bears are on the clock.
Their pick is in. So
they took Loveland last year. Their O-line's in good shape. They added guys like Thuney last year. They still have a couple of young offensive linemen they've drafted recently. Their wide receiver situation is very, very good despite losing DJ Moore. There's no running back here worth taking. So I feel like it's got to be defense. Who are the guys standing out on defense at this point in time? I think when you look at it, you look at some of the edge players that are still sitting there, like Keldrick Falk, Zion Young, Cassius Howe, maybe a Caden McDonald. I don't know that I would see that for them. But then I start thinking about Dylan Thieneman, and at some point he's got to come off the board. And then there's also been a lot of love for Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I know there's some mixed feelings on him, but I think he's a guy that could come. And then he's a guy that could come. Clip that. And then Jeremiah McCoy at some point is going to go. Think of the Derek Stingley arc. Now, he's not Derek Stingley. We talked about that, but it's A+ tape, injury. Where does the two meet? If you're okay with the injury risk, this is a guy that, especially in this draft class, would have been long gone.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's now in the mid-20s, nobody's taking a shot on him. Is that a player, Luka or Stokes, that would interest you for the Bills?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about ceiling play value? Yes. I mean, I am all in on McCoy. Like, tell me kind of like realistically, you go Hairston, you're in a position where you can afford that to be a guy who can take a year off currently. And then next thing you know, corner becomes an absolute strength for you between Benford, Hairston, and then McCoy. that you can just go crazy with what you're trying to do. You could man match, you could do whatever you want.
I say this as a big hypocrite because I'm the only one on the show that's been doing it all night. Stay off Twitter, everybody.
Is the spoilers for the Bills now officially live?
Spoilers for the Bills are spitting out.
God damn it.
Weston, we have a rule. We love you. So this is your one time. We'll allow you to do this. No. We like Weston. It's okay. I don't know if
I'm just gonna delete his comment.
Thank you. There's some Bills news. Ooh, would you trade this pick for Brian Thomas Jr.?
Oh God, yeah.
100%. Twice on Sunday. Yeah, where did the twice on Sunday? Stokes, you're smart. Where did the twice on Sunday saying come from?
That I don't know. But I would imagine it had to have been. Well, no, I don't think it was in relation to any sort of football. I'm gonna guess I'm gonna guess it started with like some sort of church related term, since sometimes you do 2 sessions on Sundays. Maybe that's.
You can see that. Now, what about kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Take it, Stokes.
I really hate that saying. I was like, why are we killing birds? Like,
why is that a good thing? And then somebody will explain it to me. Well, you're only using ones. No, I get what they're trying to say, but why are we inherently agreeing that is a good thing?
Yeah, more than one way to skin a cat. Like, come on now, what is with this animal torture?
What do you do in your free time?
Yeah, yeah.
Scott Norwood. Thank you very much. The Bears are on the clock. Luka's not here to turn the audio up, so we'll just read it as it comes across. We are expecting defensive player here, some of the edges left, but it's going to be Dylan Thieneman, the outstanding safety from Oregon. Stokes, this was a guy that I think a lot of people thought could even go to Minnesota and be like the heir apparent to Harrison Smith. This feels like fantastic value for the Bears to get him at 25.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the Bears, they are, as far as their ceiling, they're built on offense now for the most part, and they need some defensive players to do well. So I think this is a solid pick, especially when you have a guy you think should have gone before this.
One of my favorite players of the last 10 years, and it sucks now that he's on the Patriots, but has been Kevin Byard. I went to a Titans game against the Bills back in 2019, and it was just, even though I was there rooting for the Bills, it was such a thrill to watch him as a guy that just appreciates football, how good he was live and in person. He was a Bear last year, and he left via free agency, went to New England. So this is a guy that absolutely could come in and fill that void. I would expect, Luka, this is a guy that is a day one starter in Chicago.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, if the Bills, just put it in a Bills lens, if the Bills drafted Thieneman, even in their situation where they have a Cole Bishop, it's like this would be your tandem partner with Cole Bishop. And I think right now, especially with them letting Brisker hit the free agency market and ended up going elsewhere, they're in a position where safety was something they absolutely needed to address for the current as well as the future. And I think Thieneman is a quality safety. I agree with Stokes and everything where I love this pick. I think the match makes a lot of sense. It's why I even had the Bears, for instance, taking a safety, and I just took the next best safety available because we had Dylan Thieneman off at 18. But ultimately, it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, Luka, we obviously have the spoiler that have come over.
Although, have we had an official announcement yet?
No, but once it does, I'll give the there it is. The update here.
Trade away.
So is it on the screen? Because I'm not looking at our screen. Okay, so the Bills have traded with the Texans. They moved back 2 spots. They have received pick 28, pick 69, which by my math is like one of the very first 3rd round picks. Yeah, because there's not compensatory picks just yet. So like the 5th pick in the 3rd round. And then they get a 5th round pick 167. So they get an early 3 and then a 5th round pick. And then they give up pick 26, obviously, and they give up pick 91 at the end of the 3rd round. So they move back here. I'll keep it simple. They move back 2 spots in the 1st round to move up 22 spots in the 3rd round and also pick up a 5th round pick.
Hell yeah.
I can dig it.
Hell yeah.
As Stokes would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's grabbing value from nothing. That's all that is. That's grabbing value from nothing. And as Stokes even mentioned when he first came on, or recently after coming on, it's like they probably have multiple guys on their board still, and they were absolutely comfortable with moving back and picking up a little thing here or there if they could to move up into the third where you're even appearing to be a second, but then on top of it, pick up another pick for fun. That's great.
What are we watching right now? Is one of these the dad and one is the son? Because that would be creepy.
Yes.
These both have to be brothers.
No. These are both brothers. They already showed the dad. You missed the dad being on screen.
I will say the mom, good, but I'm still taking who was it? Rams quarterback.
Ty
Simpson's mom. She's power ranked number 1 on my draft board tonight. Okay, yeah, there's the mom. Oh, sister though. Okay. He would have been so fun to have in the Bills. All right, so the Texans trade up. What are we thinking the Texans do here? They obviously can use offensive line help, but they don't seem to realize that as they just do nothing but trade away their offensive linemen.
Yeah, there's nothing here for them really too either.
Tank Dell is a guy that's never really seems like he's going to come back from that injury. Could they go receiver here, like with an Omar Cooper or a Denzel Boston? Is Denzel Boston redundant with a Nico Collins? I mean, I know Nico Collins does everything, but is that the kind of player you'd want opposite Nico Collins?
I'll let Stokes answer that one.
I'm gonna say they're gonna go defense for some odd reason. I think just D'Amico Ryans, if he's gonna do something aggressive, I think he's gonna go defense. So I'm gonna say they're gonna go and get McCoy, try and book him with Stingley, and their team.
That's a great call.
In the 2026 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Keelan Rutledge, guard, Georgia Tech.
Well,
that's Laura Rutledge's son. I just made that up. But Weston did make a good call that we didn't get the epic Luka rant on the trade down. Texans, hey, good on them to finally realize, like, hey, maybe we should give CJ Stroud some professional offensive linemen. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, to Costa's point, I don't know many mock drafts that had Keelan Rutledge in the first round.
The over has officially hit, though.
There we go. The over has hit. And the way this Nuggets game's going, I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight, Stokes. And not because I'm happy, but because I can go to bed early.
Right.
But the Sabres won, Josh.
I am happy about that. I am legitimately happy about that.
There you go. Miami traded up. They're going to get Omar Cooper at pick 27 now.
What did Miami do earlier? They took an offensive line. They have to replace Waddle. I mean, that goes without saying. So it's going to be Boston or Cooper, and they're probably trying to get ahead of the Bills and the Chiefs, who have both been tied to receivers.
I guess. But
to Costa's point, 8 offensive linemen. We talked about it earlier. The league is just telling you what they think of offensive linemen. When there were 21 picks in, we had 7 offensive linemen go. We root for a team, the 3 of us, that have had a great offensive line the last few years. Yet all we hear about is how Josh Allen has no help around him. Yet we've all pushed back saying, hello, they have the best offensive line in the sport by some metrics. That is help. Aaron Gordon is in street clothes, Stokes. Why? Well, that's not draft related, but why is that happening?
I did not know that. Oh boy.
Oh geez. Also, McChronicle, shout out you, buddy, once again. Noted, not the biggest NBA person. So I do apologize for no Raptors conversation here, but basketball's never been my sport. I respect it. I respect Josh being a big Nuggets fan. I know Stokes is a Knicks guy, but you're a Knicks person, right, Stokes?
Yes,
Sure
I'm a
is.
Knicks fan.
Okay. I thought I got that right. I was like, no, he's not a Thunder person. I'm like,
Yep.
who's the Thunder person we know? But anyways.
My God. To borrow a phrase from the NFL, I mean, this is still NBA. The Minnesota Timberwolves are like the 2000 Ravens when they play the Nuggets. They just have them in a bag.
I don't know. Well, maybe not tonight, but I think they'll go back to Denver too.
I think so too. And the Nuggets are a hard offense to keep down. We're not going to talk basketball too much longer, but just because the Dolphins are on the clock and we're just waiting at this point, the Nuggets are a massive threat because the Joker and Jamal Murray 2-man game is just so hard to defend. But when you have defenders like Jaden McDaniel and you have defenders like Rudy Gobert, who are some of the best defenders in the sport, they can take the 2-man game away with just 2 men, which you're not supposed to be able to do. And that just really creates problems for the Nuggets supporting cast, which many recognize as not being the greatest in the league.
And the way Ant is locked in defensively, that just found money right there when you have a guy like that good being that, locked in defensively.
And he's supposed to be playing on a bum foot. I would love to see that bum foot slow him down anytime soon. Okay, let's lock back in on the Bills. Dolphins are on the clock. The Bills are still sitting there with Omar Cooper, Denzel Boston available. If the Bills are looking at, say, edge rushers, they could go Caden McDaniel. Peter Woods was mocked to them by Peter Schrager. Kristen Miller has been a favorite of Joe Marino, so there's plenty of options there. And then obviously we've talked about the edge options. Keldrick Falk, Luka, feels like great value here, but kind of redundant, like we said, with Rousseau and Chubb, the longer, maybe more of a 5 technique in this defense. Zion Young, Cassius Howell's a guy you're really high on.
Yep.
I like quite a bit Gabe Jacas. I don't know that he's a first-round player, but TJ Parker is another good player. There are answers there at edge. But now that the Bills, okay, the math has changed. The Bills now have an early third-round pick. So when I'm looking at this edge board, and I see Keldrick Falk, Zion Young, Cassius Howell, Gabe Jacas, TJ Parker, Mason Thomas, those names, you might feel like one of them could fall to you at the top of the third round. So could the Bills now address another need outside of edge and use the depth of the edge class to address defensive tackle if they go with my idea, or maybe something that would appease Luka more and maybe use Stokes, go after an Emmanuel McNeil Warren because there is a massive safety drop-off after him, get the 6'4" playmaker out of Toledo, or if they love one of these wide receivers like Denzel Boston, who the second the Bills draft Denzel Boston, I will be screaming from the high heavens, this is not Keon Coleman. Don't hold that against this kid. You may not love him as a prospect, but he is much better, much more polished than Keon Coleman. And let's not do the lazy thing and put those two together.
The Miami Dolphins select Chris Johnson, defensive back, San Diego State.
Okay.
I'm going to say something. I hate complimenting the Dolphins. I have one of my friends who I'm actually going to go hang out with tomorrow night and watch the draft on night 2 is a massive Dolphins fan. And his biggest complaint about them is they can't stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. All their best players get hurt. Tyreek Hill got hurt. Waddle got hurt. Tua got hurt. So while we look at this and say, holy cow, Dolphins, you took Chris Johnson when Jermod McCoy was on the board. I get it. I truly do. If there's a team in the NFL that is so snake bit with injuries that they don't want to roll the dice on a McCoy, I'm going to give them that leeway because holy cow, have they really gone through it injury wise?
Here's my problem with it. You're taking Chris Johnson when a Colton Hood is available, when an Avian Terrell is available. Like those aren't guys that are in the McCoy nature where that's the kind of, oh my God, another trade.
Brandon Bean, if they go past 32, there's no pick tonight. New England? Walk off the set, Luka.
No, that's not walk off settable.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a rant. Like I think considering what happened a couple years ago, like that was just a confluence of events. Like it was the Chiefs, it was wide receiver, it was all these things.
Ooh, and I didn't have a Sabres playoff win in my head.
Yeah. There's no buffer for them.
I am like we've said, and for our Weston Kansas City fan there, we could literally draft a punter. I wouldn't give a shit tonight. I'd be irate tomorrow, but
the Bills have traded pick number 28 to the Patriots. They moved down 3 spots to pick 31, and in exchange, they pick up a 4th round pick 125. Those are the only picks exchanged in the draft. We just mentioned some of the names. Some of them are redundant. This feels very much like when the Bills took James Cook. They kept trading down, and eventually we like him enough. We'll take him. I like what the Bills are doing here. So far they've really increased their chances in the 3rd round. Now they've added a 4th round pick. And let's go back to what I just said. Let's say they like these edges, but none of them are standing out. And let's say that the Bills want to just address receiver and they take Omar Cooper. Let's just forward the conversation. Now they have a high 3, two fours to start moving up in the second round to get it if there's a run on edges.
Yeah, for sure.
Tackle, Utah.
Okay. I like the player. I'm gonna put that out in the space. I like the player. Not exactly what I expected them to move up to go grab.
9 offensive linemen.
Oh yeah, good ticker on that one. I told some individuals months ago, Josh, that this was going to be a fatty draft. I did not expect this. This is now even eclipsed the number that I expected.
I'm going to mute my mic because when you said fatty draft, I almost said something that would get me canceled.
Come on, Josh. We talked about Vrabel and Diana Rossini enough that we're in a good spot here.
It sounds like me on Bumble. All right, so Caleb Hawkeye is in chat, and I if anybody's listening, that is not what I came out of the Bumble draft with. By the way, let's just make that very clear. I'm very happy with my draft pick. That I did lock up for a long time, by the way, to a contract extension. I haven't told Luka that off the air yet, but I did tell Stokes that. We did lock it up to a long-term deal on that one, Luka. That's why I was busy this last week.
Gotcha.
Caleb's here, Chiefs fan, but we love Caleb because he kind of was rooting for the Bills down the stretch. He's a Chiefs fan, but he loves our show, and then he hates the Broncos, so he was on board with us. And trading better than trading up for a corner when you have the best DB coach in the league. But the best DB coach in the league also got arrested for battery this morning. So maybe the Chiefs, assuming that's who he's talking about, the Chiefs trading up for a DB. You didn't like the move that the Chiefs did, Caleb?
Interesting.
I didn't.
We have traded down twice, Costa. We have traded down with the Texans and moved up 22 spots in the third round and acquired a 5th. And now we have moved back 3 spots to pick 31 with the Patriots and picked up a 4th round pick. And now my theory is the Bills are going to look at this edge class that's still sitting here, has Keldrick Falk, Zion Young, Cassius Howell, Gabe Jacas, TJ Parker, Derek Moore, Mason Thomas, all available, and think that they can get one of those guys at the top of the third, or now they have the ammunition with 2 4ths and an extra 5th to move up and get one of those guys in the second. If a run happens, maybe they go with an alternative position. I think you could see them go after a Boston or a Cooper in this spot, or maybe a safety. And that's kind of where my money's at now. McCoy is still there. Luka is very much on that bandwagon. What would you do in that scenario at slot?
Figure it out.
Harrison?
Probably. On the surface, probably. I guess you would really. I mean, it's basically Hairston or McCoy once healthy. Like, you're not putting Benford there. So Benford's your traditional, obviously, like, bigger boundary corner that just suffocates everything out there. That Hairston could play in there, but at the same time, I mean, in my opinion, like, you're doing something like that because you can zero press or single high press or do whatever you want. And you match up at that point. Like, you're like, hey, Benford, you're on him, or Hairston, you're on him, McCoy, you're on him. Like, you don't have to think of it anymore as boundary to slot. It's just straight hat on a hat. Who do you like on the matchup? And then you just go in, week out. And it's like Belichickian-esque, where it's just like, hey, we're doing 2 high man, baby. Just beat us. We know we can match up with you X, Y, and Z. Now figure it out. Beat us man on man. Beat us hat on hat. That's the ideal scenario to me.
How you feeling, Stokes? Where's your head at right now?
Well, I mean, I was going to echo a lot of what Luka was saying there, because I would just like to have problems like that. I would like to know that they're not just going to be able to pick on a slot guy. Like, and even if let's say he just spends this entire season trying to get healthy and be more consistent, he can spend that time learning or getting more comfortable playing slot if that's the route to be taken, or mix and match, as he said. Hairston plays some in the slot, and we just build off of that, because if you have 3 guys that are that type of pedigree, that type of skill level, we'll be able to match up and be able to put offenses in a little bit of a bind. So I mean, I'm very much in favor I'm going for McCoy, but I do also like the thought of having a rangy safety like McNeil Warren as far as after this season when you assume that Gardner Johnson will be gone, and then it'll be Cole Bishop, and you have this 6'4" safety that'll be a great tandem. So I mean, either of those options I'd be fine with, and I mean I'm definitely not opposed to going edge if that's the route to go, but I think a situation like that would be great at this point.
Luka, what do you think about with McNeil Warren being 6'4"? How does he look to you as somebody who could be that Jahdae Barron role that the Broncos had? And before you answer that, I do want to, before we talk about the cornerback situation, Jim Leonard and Joe Brady both had a front row seat last year for the division round playoff when the Bills gave up the game-winning or game-tying touchdown where Dane Jackson was forced to come in and cover Marvin Mims. The Bills know more than anybody what cornerback depth can do for you, so don't rule that out. Sorry, Luka, what do you think about his ability to be like a move all over, or is he more of just a safety?
Defensive tackle, Clemson.
So glad the Bills aren't going to do that.
See ya.
You're going to play this back in 5 years when he's like the next Chris Jones. We avoided that guy.
For now, though, Josh, we can enjoy it and we can bask in it. Hey, maybe our guy Weston got a quality player. Hopefully not, but overall, it's glad that temptation's not there if it ever was and existed. On McNeil Warren, I think he is not a Jahdae Barron, and what I will say is that's where I think he is very fluid in a zone sense. But once you start really getting with that quick twitch and you're manning up and stuff like that, he can get lost a little bit. He might, take just one errant step, and he doesn't necessarily have that ability to truly recover and make it happen. Oh, okay. All right.
Omar Cooper Jr.
Yeah, here you go. So right along. We were right
all along. You're never wrong, just late.
But yeah, I wouldn't call that comp apples to apples, Josh. I would say that is more of a move you would make where you can move them around depending on looks, packages, opponent, whatever it is. But your game plan for a McNeil Warren is going to be truly more as just having a big safety that can play in the box, be physical, be a presence in his ability to shift zone and stuff like that. He's not going to man mark and do anything of that variety for you nearly as much as like a Jahdae Barron, like you referenced, when Denver took him. Unfortunately.
Stokes, if we can assume this is Omar Cooper Jr., which again, they've been tied to him so much, the Jets will come out of this draft with David Bailey, Sadiq, the tight end, and then Omar Cooper Jr. That is a nice little foundation for them, assuming that's where they go. We should probably let the pick happen first, but what do you think about that haul for them, recognizing that you said you weren't the biggest Cooper fan? I assume you're more of a fan of him at 30 than you would have been at 16.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think that's a solid core, and I'm thankful that they don't have some sort of franchise quarterback to build around with all of that. But I think their thought process is that they'll just find somebody that can just use these weapons and do what you need to do. But I'm still not feeling them as a threat, but they have some pieces that if you get the right signal caller, that they'll be. They can be a bit of a problem, and the East is it's not as easy as we were hoping.
You had to take it too far. I mean, the Patriots are tough. They were in the Super Bowl last year, but Jets and Dolphins, that's 4 dubs.
It might be a little bit more distracted this year, Josh.
You don't like Malik Willis? You don't think he's solid?
The New York Jets select Omar Cooper Jr.
Never wrong, just late. I guess early. I guess I was early. All right. Well, the Bills pick here? Will they trade down again, and then we have to wait 24 hours? What are we going to talk about for 24 hours on this show?
Sabres hockey. Nothing better to talk about, baby. Right now, 2-1 lead in Boston, 2 days off. What else is there to have? Come on. We're going into May, and we still are having playoff hockey, potentially. Oh, my God, what a life.
Bills are on the clock.
I mean, it is nice that Like none of these guys that have gone, aside from maybe Woods, that you could have seen the Bills taking or would have wanted the Bills to take. So it doesn't feel like we've missed anybody in the trade downs.
Yeah,
I desperately have to go pee before the Bills pick. Terrible timing.
Brilliant. The Bills just wanted to draft in the 31-32 spot. I mean, let's be honest here. You know, what if they take in 31? They're like, we just wanted to flirt around with the idea like we were naturally selecting here.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the goal is we select here actually next season as well in the 32 spot. That's all it is. It's all a game within a game. Yeah,
you're putting that into the universe. I love
exactly. You're prophesizing it. You're putting it out there. You're like, this is the minimum goal next year, folks. We will be picking at 31. It's like, all right, yeah, you got us. Yeah, no, it's I'm trying to do the math here. At least look at it back at our mock. I think the Omar Cooper pick, Stokes, just for your knowledge. I think that puts us now officially at, let's see, we're not counting Mendoza because that was too damn easy. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 6 correct.
Okay.
6 correct picks on our mock. Not our best. Last year was by far our best, but still an impressive outing, Josh. With
right player, right team, or right player, right team, right slot.
No, slot was a little bit much here. We called those the perfect picks. I think we had 2 of those. Not counting Mendoza again. But I knew the Chiefs were going to go after what's his name, Manor, but did not anticipate them moving up 3 spots to do it. That's an interesting play. Yeah, no, it's just an interest at this point too. You know what I don't like about TV this year, Josh and Stokes, is they've been doing it. If you've noticed that commercial, like there's a big board that's like, hey, they're now on the clock, even though it's still just Jets or whatever previous team is, pick is in. And then they haven't been cutting to that a lot on TV this year, I feel like, and it's driving me insane as they do it now for us. Thank goodness. So, trade alert.
Again?
Yeah. See you tomorrow, folks.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Oh, Bean.
Damn it, Bean. God damn it, Bean. Can you stop wasting our nights? God.
So Tennessee picked 3rd in the 2nd round. Now we know why Pagula was in Boston.
Yeah, we should have known from the moment that was known. It was like, we should. You know what, Josh? We should have just called it quits on the stream. Should have just called it. Just been like, well, it was a good idea. It was fun. Everything like that.
Jordan Schultz with an oopsie. I was going to Twitter because I figured it was safe to say Jordan Schultz just tweeted the Bills have selected Keldrick Falk. That clearly didn't happen because they traded. I'm guessing that's who Tennessee took. I didn't mean to spoil it, but I was looking for the terms of the trade. The Bills' own Twitter account has tweeted out, ooh.
That's a good haul.
They get 35, 66, and 101.
Yeah, so they moved up 3 spots and then 60.
And then so they moved up 4 spots in this for this pick. They moved up 3 spots in the 3rd round. So they have basically the 2nd pick in the 3rd round now. And then they moved up 60 picks in the 4th round, but they still don't have a player to show for it.
I think overall that's I find that to be a good haul just because of what the board is looking like.
So what they've lost out on is they've lost out on the 5th-year option for any of these players. It is what it is. I think now that you're in the 2nd round, you can start thinking about interior linebacker. Is this a situation where the Bills might go after a CJ Hall or they might go after?
There's the Keldrick Falk. Schultzy, way to go, bud.
Jacob Rodriguez, Jake Galde, Josiah Trotter. So now the Bill. So let's reset what the Bills actually.
Sorry,
have.
Tom Hall. I was apologizing to Tom. He stayed up till 4:00.
Yeah. Apologize, dude. It's all good. That's how it goes. This is already we've done this 4 times, Josh. We've already stayed up twice without seeing a pick.
Okay, so here's what the Bills have now. having not picked a player. The Bills have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. The good news is they have a pick in every round now, not the first. They have the third pick in the second round, the second pick in the third round. So they have 2 picks tomorrow night. That's something they didn't have coming into this draft, and 2 early picks tomorrow night. And then they have 2 picks in the fourth round. They have the first pick in the fourth round. So they're going to start day 3 with the first pick. Okay, ESPN's updating this as we go. I need to start this over now. They have 9 picks. They have the third pick in the second round, the second pick in the third round. They have 3 fourth-round picks, the first, the 25th, and the 26th, 2 fifth-round picks, the 27th and the 28th, a 6th-round pick, and a 7th-round pick. They can make some moves, basically. So they're gonna take whatever they take first. You know, a defensive tackle, a safety. I mean, there's names there. We've gone over them, and none of them have gone. I didn't see this. This is Falk, I assume.
Yeah. I was making comments about it, how, you know, the pick was in there, Schultz, tough day. And then you were so locked in. I was like, Josh, we've done this 4 times, and we've also not seen them pick twice already. It's fantastic. 50% hit rate here.
So yeah,
that's Hall of Fame.
They have 3 fourth-round picks and a second and a third.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so we're announcing tonight that we are doing a day 2 draft live show this year. Woo!
So for those that wonder how my personal life is, when does the draft start tomorrow? Is it 7 o'clock?
I think 7. Yeah.
Let's take a night, because here's what I'll be doing. Let's see what time. Day 2 NFL draft time. The draft starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. I coach 5th through 8th grade ladies soccer on Friday nights from 6 to 7 Eastern. 6, 7. I hear that a lot at practice. And that means that I will either be on the field making sure that parents are there to pick up their kids, or in the car with my very chatty preteen, meaning that I am not going to be able to like watch and see the Bills take Denzel Boston or McDonald or whoever they get. I'm going to be hearing on the radio while she tells me who her friends are today that she hated yesterday. Nobody's feeling bad for me. I get it.
That sounds exciting.
I guess we should go ahead and finish up the first round, though, and see what the Seahawks take. Any predictions?
Seahawks.
They're not going to take a running back. They lost Walker, but they have Charbonnet.
They're going to take a McNeil Warren just to have 2 freak safety, lengthy bastards.
If they take Caden McDonald, I'm just not going to watch tomorrow. How did I get to Caden McDonald or bust?
You love this guy. What in God's name?
I want him, Boston, McNeil Warren.
You can't have them all.
I want one of them, and then I want one of the edges in the third, and I will be sleeping like a baby. Or if they take the corner, Seattle.
McCoy. Yeah.
Because they lost Woolen.
Yeah, McCoy would make a lot of sense. Or Colton Hood. They're similar vibes, although McCoy is by far better. It's just you have to take on the risk. Or Avion Terrell. I like Avion Terrell. He's not quite the same, but I think he's a very, very good corner as well. I'm probably saying that name wrong every time I say it too, but you know what? Yeah, I mean they got to be going corner, Josh. I don't know anything else. They go Brandon Cisse. Screw it.
I'll just say this about every time the Bills traded back. There was not one time they were on the clock that I was like, please take this guy.
Yeah.
Like I was like, Boston would be cool. McDonald, I talked myself into a bit. McNeil Warren would be cool. McCoy would be cool. But it wasn't like, wow, Conception's there. He fell to them. Or Concepcion was there. Sorry, Stokes. Is there. He fell to them. Or Malachi Lawrence is there. He's perfect for what they need. It does feel like there's just a cluster of players there. And, you know, one thing the experts have been saying is the meat and potatoes of this draft is in rounds 2 through 4. And the Bills, as we just said, have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks in those 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be in a situation where it's like, hey, we don't have this super duper glaring need, and we have this need for this specific guy. So it's nice to be in that position, but it doesn't really help us in nights like this where you know we've been waiting, or you guys have been waiting for 3 hours, 3.5 hours now for something to happen, and it's like, we'll see.
And Luka's still fine. He's like, it's a great night.
And honestly, the first half of the draft has been a complete blur. Gonna be honest. I'm amazed I kept up with the ticker every pick, Josh. That's impressive. All right,
Seahawks. What are we gonna do here?
Of the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who bravely battled a brain tumor and is now a 2-time cancer survivor. Woo. This is a wish come true for Dylan.
Roger Dell going for the high five, getting left dry. Sorry, just had to cut out for that. Hilarious.
Dylan, when you're ready, stage is yours.
What's going on, Pittsburgh? Yeah! I'm so excited to be here to represent the 12s. Oh, and the reigning Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks!
Dylan, it's very late, dude.
And with that, with the 32nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Jadarian Price, Notre Dame running back.
Wow.
Let K9 go.
2 Notre Dame running backs in the first round.
Well, from a dynasty perspective, that's a sexy pick because they've been trying not to give the ball to Charbonnet, despite the fact that all he does is produce for them.
Wow. I like Jadarian. He's a hammer. But I don't know about that one, Seattle. You know what that has the vibes of? Ironically enough, at pick 32, you know what that has the vibe of? CEH.
Yeah. Like, we're so good, we'll just take a luxury.
Yeah, we'll take a luxury. We could use this. This will be great. And then it's like, I mean, is this guy really a first-round talent? Like,
let me tell you a story. I live in St. Louis. The 99 Rams, I think it was the 99 Rams that did this. Maybe it was like the 2002 when they had Falk and Warner and Bruce and Holt, and they were just smoking everybody. They took Trung Candidate in the first round because he was a fast running back, and they just thought they could drop trick plays for him. And then the next year in the third round, they took Nebraska quarterback Stokes, Eric Crouch. Because they didn't even have a position for him. They were just like, think of what we can do with him. You know what you can do with him? You can get everybody fired, and then the greatest show on turf does not ever amount to anything other than 1 Super Bowl and 2 Super Bowl appearances. So
Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch.
You're never as good as you think you are, and do not take toys. So unless they think, I mean, there's a lot of reason to think this kid could be a great running back. I'm not saying this is a toy pick, but if their thought process was, we are so good, we can just take whatever and just take like a gadget player, then that's a faulty logic. But I would doubt that's what they're thinking. John Schneider seems a little too sharp for that.
But that's the thing. Like, Jadarian Price isn't gadget. Like, he's kind of like that. I don't know. Like, he's a guy. Like, I don't have anything. You watch Jadarian Price and you're like, oh, he's fun to watch as a Notre Dame player, but you were also like, why is Jeremiah Love not out there? Like, that's how you felt. Like, every time, and like, he still did good things, but he was never like exceptional. Where you're like, man, best running back duo in the country, even though it kind of was. It's just what, like, he's okay. He was a mid-second, early third-round pick, and all of a sudden the Seahawks were like, you know what, 32.
You know what we want to do with our first-round pick? Take Algier Part 2.
Yeah, like, yes, exactly. Like, I don't.
Yeah, this isn't Darren McFadden, Felix Jones type of situation.
No. This is like, oh, you got Jeremiah Love without that third and fourth gear and pass catching abilities and things like that. It's like, yes, that is what you just drafted at 32. Like, you probably could have waited to your second round to get him. Interesting. Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to go get some sleep. Hope you guys sleep well tonight. Thank you for tuning in to our fourth annual.
Yes, fourth annual. It says it right on the screen, Josh. Come on.
All right there. Fourth annual draft night. Spectacular. Stokes has been here for all 4. Luka, thanks for all the hard work you did getting this set up, getting the TV set up. It was fun watching the Sabres. It has been less fun watching the Nuggets just for me. Great night for Buffalo sports, though. The Bills pick up a bunch of picks. They don't pick a player. The Sabres get a 2-1 lead over those Boston Bruins. The Bills will be on the clock with the 3rd overall pick tomorrow night to start off at 7 Eastern. They will have 2 picks tomorrow night and then a bunch of picks now on Saturday. So there's a lot of work to do for the Bills, who have yet to pick a player, and we'll be all over it on Twitter. And then Luka and I will be recording our draft wrap-up show that'll come out on Monday, and we'll probably talk a little hockey on that too, I would assume. Right, Luka?
Hell yeah. Yes, we will, Josh. You bet your bippy.
All right. Well, Stokes, thanks for coming out. Is now 70-47 Minnesota. Stokes, always appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Love being here.
We can cry about. Oh, Aunt Edward just went to the locker room though. Good. We can cry about NBA together in DM. But yes. For Luka, for Stokes, I am Josh McCarty. Thanks to everybody who hung out with us tonight. The Bills did not make a pick. Last time they did this, they came away with Keon Coleman. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next year on the 5th annual Draft Night Live Spectacular Show, where the Bills will come into it picking 32. So if they trade down, this will happen again.